Hello, everyone.
Hello, 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 hello. Is
Hello. Uh, please bear with us while we are getting all of this set up. This is
Okay.
a lot of logistics
A
going on
lot
for
to
a
do
six-person
with.
stream.
Wait,
Yeah.
I did it
Hello,
differently this
everybody.
time. Learning experience.
Oh,
Oh my god.
that's right, because for a
Sorry.
couple of people, it's your second panel of the day, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Can't hear me. Oh, sorry. Queen, can you hear me now? I thought I unmuted it, but I apparently did not. Oh, amazing. Okay, perfect. There we go. Cool. Yeah. Hi, everybody's chats. Yell louder, please. I'll do my best. Yeah, we have so many friends here today. All of the communities coming together. For anybody who's not up to date, we are all part of the Twitch Women's Guild, and I think we'll do some intros in a minute. But we are hosting a panel roundtable discussion today on women in power themed around mental health. If you guys haven't seen already, there's been a bunch of different panel discussions today on all kinds of different topics. What were the other ones that you guys were in today?
I was in mom life, so we just talked about being a mom while also being in the streaming life.
I was in gaming where we talked about women in gaming. Ow! The pugs are
What
loving the BB up right now.
Oh, I watched
Just
I watched one of the women in gaming panels, and it was so wonderful to see everyone come together. And there's so much overlap. Like, obviously, we got together for the first time on Friday, met each other, and started talking. And there's so
Mhm.
much overlap in the stuff that
Mhm.
female streamers like run into, the stuff we deal with. It was really nice to hear everyone talk about what they're dealing with. And yeah, the women gaming one was really interesting as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. I mean, I think we can kind of hop right into it. If you want to just go down the line, I don't know what order it shows on everybody's screen, but I guess order in Discord if you want to go down the line, just do some quick intros for everybody else's chats, and then we can get into our topics, if that works.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
So, Angelic, if you want to take it away.
sure, but you might hear a little bit of barking.
It's all
The
good.
one pug is very needy and very attention seeking, and he is very, very much wanting my attention. He's not happy that I'm talking about him either. But I'm I'm a VTuber, horror variety streamer that pet sits, if you can't tell. I do a lot of different horror games. I've been doing a lot of different charity streams. My VTuber right now is just chilling on the bottom of my screen. Had to get her back up. And this happens quite often in my streams where a dog will bark at me. A lot. But yeah, and I also do a bunch of I teach also. Sorry.
All good. Yeah, the pug is contributing the conversation. Yeah.
Like, this is my show, not yours. You do not get to show it. You do not get to talk. You do not. And like it's two pugs. The other pug is like, what is happening? Why are we all yelling?
I have to ask, is the dog male or female?
They're both males.
Typical, trying to take over women's conversation. Crazy. During Women's History Month? That's wild.
Oh my goodness. Where are we? Yeah, but that's me. Somebody else wants to go.
Yeah, Emma, if you want to, I figure we just go down the list in Discord.
Yeah, I assume that's me next.
Yeah, yeah.
I am Emma. You guys can all just call me Emma. I'm a VTuber. I'm from the UK. I mostly stream survival crafting games, but I think talking about mental health is so important, hence the reason why I'm here today.
Yeah.
I don't have a dog
Nice.
that barks.
I think I'm next. I don't know if everybody's screen is the same.
I think so.
It should be on
Yeah.
Discord. It should be on Discord just because it goes
Yeah.
alphabetical order.
Yeah, all right.
Mhm.
Yeah, so my name is MVP. The M stands for Maaike. I'm primarily a Dead by Daylight content creator. I'm from the Netherlands. We do some variety, especially on Sunday. And when I'm not gaming or streaming, you can find me dog sitting, cat sitting. I work at a horse's stables. And I'm very excited to be here.
I am Starshie. I am a spooky variety streamer, play a lot of like Phasmophobia, DBD. I just kind of got into the last couple months. Um, and yeah, when I'm not streaming, I love to read, love to dance, lift weights, all that good stuff. And I'm also a mom, so that's fun.
Also hard work.
Yes.
I'm Smooshy, Smooth for short. I'm a variety streamer. I play everything. I also very big advocate for mental health. I feel like it's something that's not talked or discussed at all to the extent that it needs to be to stop the stigmatization and the taboo about the whole topic. When I'm not streaming, I work retail. I'm a single mum. But yeah, just generally, that's about me.
And I'm Sushi. I'm also a variety streamer. I started primarily with gaming, but these days I mostly do art and chatting and kind of a whole variety of nonsense. We do baking. I'm a big traveler, so starting travel streams this year, which is really cool. As far as my experience with mental health, I am a woman with ADHD, as well as bipolar type 2, and have been through the whole process of therapy and the figuring out the meds and all of that kind of stuff for a long time. So it's a space that I am very passionate about talking about and trying to like Sushi was saying, destigmatizing a little bit, being a little more open with talking about it. But outside of streams and outside of that, I also weightlifting, big into that. And like I said, big traveler, big artist, and just generally always working on something crafty. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I think we've reached everyone now, haven't we?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So we had talked about with how we wanted to kind of um structure this today was we kind of all had picked some topics that within the mental health space that we wanted to kind of share and chat about. And so we were all going to take a little bit of time to just kind of broach that subject, do a little bit of a roundtable, take questions from our chats, of course. I don't know if everybody did. I know I did, and I think I don't remember who actually had suggested it.
That was
So
me.
please forgive me.
I
But
did the channel
there,
point redeem.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we have the channel point redeem. So if you want to ask a question, make sure that it does not get lost. You can use the channel point redeem to do that. If you want to ask a question of anybody on the panel or bring up, something that you want us to talk about or anything like that, please feel free.
So the last part.
I'm just
Who wants to
pulling
go
up our
first?
list.
That is the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody want to hop in? Anybody want to volunteer?
I didn't have a topic.
That's okay. That's okay.
I get to just sit for a minute.
Well, if no one wants to go, I can always go first. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Go
Wonderful.
for it.
So one of my things is I feel like we do need to advocate more for mental health, for our mental health, because a lot of the time doctors don't know, all of the time doctors don't know what's going on in our head. Only we know what's going on, and a lot of the time it can be minimalized or reduced, or what we're feeling is disregarded because they can't put a quantity or a number or a value to it. And trying to make sure that we stand up for ourselves when we go into these appointments, or when we're feeling not at our best. The only person that knows what's going on is ourselves, and it can get missed, and that's one of the worst parts. I've had my own experience with that, Because I'm aphantasic, I don't have a visual memory, so I can't sort of visualize things. So if I were to say, can you picture an apple? A lot of people can see that apple in their head, and I can't. So my experience is I would go to doctors, I would get treatment plans, and they would say, right, now you just need to start visualizing this peaceful place. And when I say I can't, it was a case of, well, you're not trying hard enough, you're clearly not ready for this, we don't want you. So trying to make sure that we're putting our foot down, saying it's not that I'm not trying, it's that we can't. I feel like it's something that we need to push more. Having a plan when you're going to an appointment, like writing things down if you have to. If you can't even write them down, record them on your phone. Because as long as you've got something to go back to, you can look at your point, go, right, have I addressed this? Tick it off. If I address this one, tick it off. Because sometimes you can lose track of what you want to say, what you want to raise.
So what was kind of like what has your journey of advocacy been as far as like through Twitch and kind of how you like what made you, I guess, like pick this as your topic, like why this has become so important for you?
Just because it's a topic that isn't talked about, and it's not an open topic. And I will always, with my chat when I'm streaming, if I'm sad, I don't stop stream. If I need to cry, I'll cry. I don't care. They can see it, because the fact is these are emotions and they're natural. Everyone has these, but they're sort of marked off as you shouldn't have that sort of emotion. They're bad emotions. You shouldn't have that. No emotion is bad. It's only bad when you don't attend to it. So if you need to cry, cry.
Hmm.
If you need to feel sad, feel sad. If you need to feel angry, feel angry. They're all natural emotions. When you don't express them, they fester. And what could have been a simple 5-minute feel bad, pick yourself up, suddenly builds until one point it's just that tiny little thing, like someone's comment. Someone says, oh, you look silly today, or oh, you did crap in that game, or you can't do that. That's all it needs to unload that whole build up of negative feeling emotions. If we don't express them, we're just going to keep going around in circles. It's a vicious cycle. By being open and advocating for your health, advocating for everyone else's health as well, it helps broach the topic that is so hard to talk about.
Hmm.
I always
Well, I feel like it's a good point too about like when like the one little thing that can set it off. I feel like a lot of times, especially in like the Twitch space and the online space, is for me at least, the problems can seem a lot more inflated
yes,
because it is isolating in a lot of ways. So it might be, you look at it from like a broader lens and you're like, oh, it's a shitty comment somebody made or something like that. But in this space, those things can feel like so powerful because they can be that powerful. Um, so like I feel like that's a good point about just kind of like recognizing what those triggers are and how to kind of deal with them and how to express that when they happen.
to deal with them as they occur and not
Mhm.
push them aside and think it's okay, I'll deal with it later. Because eventually, if you do that with everything, then that later is just going to be an explosion. It's not going to be a small
It's gonna
little
pile
thing.
up, isn't
It's going to
it?
Mhm.
pile up, and then the smallest thing is going to be the one that topples it over.
Mhm.
Mm.
And I don't know about everyone else, but when I have that big topple, it's spectacular. I don't like going through that topple.
Yeah.
It's a
I feel like that's
spectacular
something that
topple.
we can
Hmm.
probably all
Oh,
relate to a
100%.
degree of
Yeah,
yeah. When you let it build up too much. Mhm.
yeah,
Well, I think that's where like the topic that I'd want to talk about, which I'm very similar as far as like destigmatization of mental health in this space. I think it's really easy to let those things build up. There, at least for me, there's kind of always like a pressure of performing and of having to like put on my best face, you know? Um that I have to be happy, I have to be entertaining and all those kinds of things. And when you do that too often, that's where that pressure builds up. That's where that
Can I
like
just sorry, can
no,
I just
please, yeah, jump
I
in.
had an
Anybody, please jump in. All yeah, at
no, no,
any time.
no. I had an exact question about this in my Discord when I posted about it, and it's how to combat that when you put your mask on, and it's so exhausting afterwards. And the person that asked the question was saying it takes weeks sometimes to like come down from that. So the stream is so sporadic,
Mhm,
and it's like how can they um get past that in a sense? So I basically wanted to
mhm,
ask is how do you guys do it?
I think for me, it's something I do naturally because I am on the spectrum. I am autistic. So most of my day, I go through being this big, smiling, happy person. In fact, when inside, I'm just this quiet, very reclusive person that I sort of, when I get in, it's suddenly like my shoulders drop, my energy levels drop, and
mhm,
it's like a massive weight off my shoulders. But for me, it's something that comes naturally because when I come through that door, that's it. The outside world is gone, and it's just me, my daughter, who is also autistic. So we both understand each other. We know how we work, and it is a case of, for me, the steam's gone the second I'm in. But I will also, like, for example, to remove that mask, it's a case of, I guess, oh, what's the word? I'm trying to think.
I think the idea or like the concept of unmasking is such a hard thing
To describe.
really have a solution for. I think for
Mhm.
a lot of us who are neurodivergent, the act of masking is something that we learn so early.
Yeah,
Right? Like
100%.
it's
Mhm.
that defense mechanism that you learn from the time that you're a child. And like for me, I've been look at that. Sorry, I got distracted by the big old sunshine. Oh,
Wow.
cute. We
W
love that.
gifted.
Yeah,
Let's
W.
go.
um, let's go. But yeah,
Nice.
so like I feel like that kind of like defense mechanism of masking is something that we learned so early that at least for me, like so this brings up a good point. I'm sorry. ADHD, I'm gonna have 1,000 trains of thought. They're all connected, bear with me. Um which this was something I meant to say at the beginning. Super quick disclaimer. Um, as far as I'm aware, none of us are mental health professionals. We are
No.
speaking from a place of our experiences
Yeah.
and destigmatization, advocation, like advocating things like that. We are not mental health professionals. We are not licensed to give mental health medical advice. Please talk to your therapist, talk to your doctor if you need those things. Just get that out of the way. But
Yeah.
like in that same vein, I can't tell you for sure, like, here's exactly how I've unmasked and how I have completely taken that off and learned how to deal with it. Because
It's
it's an
different for everyone.
it's different and it's an ongoing process. It's something that I am still very much learning. I think I will say that like so I've been streaming for a little over 3 years and streaming has been um the place I think I have learned to unmask the most because it's a space I've created for myself. And I think that's something that I could say as far as like my um you know my experience with unmasking is building your own space rather than feeling like you have to fit into somebody else's. Because I think that's where those masks really come out is when we are trying to make ourselves palatable for other people and for other spaces. And so, in that way, like Twitch has been such a boon for me of learning how to be more authentically myself in front of people because I've created a space that if people don't like what I am doing, they don't have to stick around for it.
Mhm.
But it's not foolproof, and that progress isn't linear. I still have days when um, the anxiety that I experience from trying to like either worried about that I came off weird or came off like cringy or anything like that, or when I realized that I was trying too hard to mask and to be authentic, that anxiety drop that I had, or like just the anxiety that I get from it, and then that drop that I get after stream still happens for me a lot. Um, and I think it's just as with everything, like being really, really patient with yourself. because it is
forgiving
a
yourself.
lifelong journey. Yeah.
And forgiving yourself, because we all make mistakes. We're human.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can totally relate to what you're
Mhm.
saying, Sushi, and also what you started with saying, like it's different, like the mask is something that you learn early and it changes. I think it depends a lot on which kind of group you are facing. When you're a kid, it's different from when you're an adult or when you're at your hobby club from like a birthday party with family. Like it's kind of like these different kind of situations. Um, that you develop these different masks and you kind of like learn and adjust. But I agree with what you were saying. I'm muted. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
We can
I
hear you. Apparently
don't
your stream
know.
couldn't.
Okay. Well, I'm the
Your
only
stream
one who
can.
can't
Oh
hear.
no!
Please feel free to
Okay.
to
Yes, we can hear
restate
now.
what you were saying.
No,
Yeah,
I
like
guess yeah.
yeah.
So what I was saying, thank you guys. So what I was sorry, so I'm just gonna quickly recap what I was saying. Like I can relate to what Sushi was saying. Like as you develop and learn about the masks, that you develop it depending on which groups you see and hear. So when you're facing groups as a kid, it's different from when you're with family. It's different from when you're with your hobby, and you kind of learn and deal with that. And for me personally, what's helped me a lot as well in streaming is to not adjust to the group, but to kind of learn and self-discover about me, like what do I feel when, how do I deal with it, and that's okay. Like that's the biggest thing because I think when you're in a group, you're still gonna be um, adjusting sometimes a little bit because it's hard to have someone react to you and you feel like, oh, maybe I said the wrong thing or maybe I did the wrong thing, and you're gonna get self-conscious.
Mhm.
And I think
Mhm.
streaming for me has really kind of opened my feelings up and I've opened myself up to seeing and believing that it's okay who I am and how I feel, and to learn to accept that. That's really been a big step for me.
Authenticity, especially in spaces that are inherently performative, because like at the end of the day, like Twitch is, it's entertainment, right? Like we are here providing entertainment to people. There's a level of like performing in that, and it can be really really hard to like, obviously, like we want to entertain our streams, we want to make sure people are comfortable and having a good time, but it's also like it's a little home in a way, like it's our it's our little digital home
Yeah,
space, and
it's
like
the family we've created.
Mhm.
learning to be authentic in that is a really really difficult thing. um I think for me, like s- uh, the more that like unmasking has been affirmed for me in streaming, in that I do notice that the masks, or like sorry, the streams when I do feel like I am the most like authentically myself, and I'm just being like I'm making the ridiculous jokes, I'm telling the embarrassing stories, I am like, I'm not really trying very hard to like have a persona, tend to also be some of like the most fun streams, the most engaging streams, like because I think people connect with that. Like people can tell when you are putting on that front, or when you are just truly like being your authentic self. So I think that like when you start to kind of feel that shift, that like the affirmation that you get from that can be really encouraging, as far as kind of keep going with it, because it's scary to let people see you as you are.
Yeah,
That's actually
exactly.
something
It's true.
that I do a lot. I tend to um, show show people what I'm feeling. Like if my depression's getting to me, I let people know it. If I'm anxious, I let people know it. If I'm happy, if I'm sad, if I'm mad.
Mhm.
I did not mean to rhyme that last part. But I always tell them like what you see is what you get. I'm not here putting on an act. I let my community know, and I let like when I'm streaming, I let my chat know like, "Hey guys, my depression's been bad. I'm here like,
Mhm.
but it's not going to be as chaotic as I normally am."
Yeah, I
Sorry.
I do the same. I'm very sort of like, if I'm not feeling it, like if I'm really, really not feeling it, I just watch stream. But if I'm like on, when it's like borderline, it could go either way, and then I'll be like, look, this is how I'm feeling. Um, if it gets too much, I will end early. But usually it just flips. Like when I stream and I'm that kind of way out, it will streaming is like my little happy home that I've created. So it's being like with my community like that usually can curb those depressive kind of moments, which that's really important for me.
Agree.
Kind of
Being
using
able to
that
Yeah.
community outlet
yeah.
to,
Mhm.
like, surround yourself with support. Mhm. So I guess like question in the group that I would like be curious about because I know my own experience with it, but what are like we're kind of talking about some of the ways that we advocate for ourselves in our communities. What are some of the kind of like things that you guys still struggle with when it comes to like mental health and streaming?
I feel like it's like a
Mhm.
daily thing. Um I mean, I personally, I don't think I mentioned this earlier. I have severe anxiety, severe depression. And so just being able, for some reason, sometimes it is just like so hard to press the go live button. Even though when you're in the space, like it feels good to connect to everybody and you feel good, but just yeah.
I feel that every time
Yeah.
before I go
Yeah.
live. I stare at that go live button and I'm like, "Do I?" And
Mhm, mhm.
I need at least 5 minutes to kind of make my brain sort of, just do it. It's not like you haven't done it before. You love streaming, these are all the positive things. Focus on that. It'll be fine once you start. But yeah, I always need that little bit of time before I go live to quiet that anxiety, and that's it. That's an ongoing thing. That's every time.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
I think for me, it's completely the opposite. I have no, my anxiety is sky high, and then I press that button and it's gone. And then when I'm having problems with my mental health, I find that I can't press the stop button. I can't bring myself to end because I've got community and I've got company and I've got distraction, and it's
Mhm.
keeping me engaged and entertained when I know that when I press that stop button, I'm going back to my darkness that I don't want to be in.
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
stream has
Mhm.
just pulled me out of it and kept me above ground, kept me floating. So for me, it is a complete reversal.
Yeah, and that's really it's a really interesting thing you say that, because I think it's really important to learn for yourself how you can clear kind of like your head like that, whether it
Mhm.
is like before going live or pressing the live, or anything you deal with in life. And I was on a 40 plus hour office job, and it was a good career that I had, and I was on the path that I think my parents thought was the best way to go for me. And every time when someone asked me to walk their dog for them, and I was walking, whether it was in the rain or in the sun or in the when it was really hot, I just felt so much happier than sitting in that office. And I was able to change, to form my life to kind of like shape into, so I have the education and the experience to do an office job, but I don't want to do that 40 plus hours a week. That's why I was able to change to dog sitting, cat sitting, working at a horse's stables. And that's where I learned that like being outside with animals is like my moment where I can like be myself and reflect, and things kind of like come together, and I can find that peace to calm that anxiety, and then you can keep going after that. And yeah, that's something that I was really have fortunate to like be able to do and explore. And now I'm just shaping my life um to kind of like meet that. So when you do get like the anxiety or the stress, or when you feel like your mind is going in a like a darker place or in a dark direction, that you have those kind of like tools at your disposal to help you get through.
It's interesting kind of like hearing the sort of like different takes on how you feel before you go live. And I think like the thing that tells me is like how different people cope differently with when we are feeling that like mental pressure of, are you the kind of person who like digs into social interactions to kind of keep you above water, or are you the kind of person who pulls back from it like when you need to cope with your own things? Because like similar to I think what Starshie was saying, like for me as well, I notice a lot of times sometimes it's a, you know, it's 5 minutes, I have to kind of center and do it. I've had days where, and honestly frequently, days where I'll sit in front of OBS for 3 hours, like just like trying to get there, trying to kind of like work up the nerve to do it. And it's like just the anxiety takes over, the, you know, the doubt, like self-doubt takes over, all of those kinds of things. Like, I feel like a lot of my community probably knows at this point, like if there's days where I say that I'm going to stream that day and then it's like late in the afternoon, it's been silent, nothing's happening, I'm probably sitting in front of my computer, like setting myself into an anxiety attack about it. Just because that, like, even though, you know, like we are really open about talking about mental health in my community, and like we're, you know, we have like a whole mental health like advocacy section in our Discord and all those kinds of things, it doesn't, like, I'm not immune to that. um like I definitely still feel those days, and I think it's always like a snowball effect for me, in that if I have one day where that happens and then I don't stream, the next time it's harder, and the next time it's harder, the next time it's harder, and then suddenly I haven't streamed in 2 weeks. um and
Yeah,
it's,
it's
so it's
piles
like
up.
it can stay, it piles up. Yeah. And which I think goes back to what Smooshie was saying in the beginning of like, when those things pile up, when you don't address them, and it just kind of like, it just all stacks up and becomes, it feels so overwhelming.
Yeah, the longer you wait, the
Hmm.
more you're gonna be like, "Oh, it's been too long," and then you just don't do it. Yeah, I understand that.
I
Mhm.
think that's why I get anxiety when I skip streams, because I'm like, if I skip, then it's like I go into that
Yeah.
whole,
Yep.
okay,
Mm,
not gonna press the
Yep.
mhm,
button.
Yeah, I find that if I miss a stream because of my anxiety or my depression, it's and then I'll miss another one, and it's guaranteed
Yep.
that it will. And then I might do one stream, and it might not go well because I've been sort of not streaming. So
Mhm.
and then that'll be like, oh well, no one, everyone hates me. That's enough. I'm done. And then I won't stream for a bit longer. And I fall into that cycle at least 4 or 5 times a year.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Well, and, like,
self-doubt and
that's
just getting in your head like that is
yeah.
super
mhm.
common with us creators. It's nice being able
That's
to
such a
talk
good
about
point.
it.
That's such a good point too about, like, when you have one stream that, like, doesn't go as well because you haven't been consistent. Like, I I don't know, obviously, like, where everybody else here is with their, you know, like, if people here are full-time, things like that, but when when those metrics are something that you look at, even if you're not somebody who does it, you know, full time, if it's not something you do super seriously, like for me, it's part time and it's mostly just a thing I enjoy. But those numbers are still there. Those metrics are still there. Those analytics are still there. And I can see like, oh, I haven't streamed in a while. So my like concurrent viewer average went down, which just kind of like reinforces those things of like, I've pissed people off. People don't like me because I stopped streaming. I let them
Mhm.
down. Like I didn't keep my promises. I didn't stick to a schedule. Um and I think that like those, having that aspect of metrics and numbers and everything adds a layer to the kind of like mental health pressure of streaming,
Yeah.
just because it's not, I think no matter how much we try to ignore it and try, and I say, you know, again, this is my personal experience, but like no matter how much I try to ignore, you know, how many people are watching, how did it go, how like was engagement and things like that, I'm still aware of it.
Mhm.
And it still kind of affects how I felt about that, how I felt about that stream, how I felt about, you know, whatever happened that day.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
it's also something people ask about, right? It's something it's out there. We're always confronted with it. Yeah, I understand. I also on like if I'm not trying to think about the numbers, you'll always find a reason, right? Like to kind of like go in that self-doubt, and it's you watch another streamer and they're like, oh, their overlay looks so much better than mine, and oh, they have
Yep.
such an engaging a bot that has them moving their chat, and why don't I have that, and shouldn't I be doing that, or maybe I should just quit streaming altogether. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's lots of like angle stuff. Like there was a point in my time where I was doom scrolling on Instagram like for hours on end, and where to a point where I had to say to myself, I'm moving this app from my front page of my phone, like somewhere in a folder at the back, and not look at
Mhm.
it except for when I need something specifically. Like I really like to cook, and I discovered that that's something that not only I enjoy to do, but it brings me a lot of peace. And I would only go on Instagram to look recipes of my favorite like Instagram chefs. Um, yeah, you have to find a way to like it's okay to like to feel that way, and just as
Mhm.
long as you, I think for me anyway, acknowledge that you're seeing like numbers, or you're seeing other people do something, and then it doesn't say anything about you or what you're doing, and
Mhm.
that you can get through and keep going. And then sometimes you get a really cool rate from someone you weren't expecting, and you're feeling like super happy again. Or you get you get a DM, a message from someone that says, hey, I had a feeling that you were struggling a little bit today, but you're doing so well, and I love spending time with you or gaming with you or whatever. There's always something. Like look at those positives too, um, and not just feeling down about the numbers or something. Kind of like that's what
Mhm.
I try anyway. I don't know how.
It's it's so hard to not like tie your self-worth uh um to those numbers as a streamer, even if you just do it for fun, even
Yeah,
if you just do it because it's something
Mhm.
you love. It's like you look, if you like look at how many people are watching your stream at a time, and it's not as high as it usually is, at least for me, like that can just kill my mood. And I hate
yeah,
that. Like I hate that I can attach
Mhm.
worth to that in that way. But the whole kind of culture and space around streaming is, you have to be growing, you have to be better, you have to be like more engaging and all of those things. And so it's like it's really, really hard to separate like your worth and your value from that.
yeah,
I will say the watching like your viewer count and everything, like the best advice I had ever gotten was like turn that off
Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah.
if you can.
Yep.
And I did,
yeah,
and I was like, it it helped with my mental health with streaming specifically, because I wasn't constantly
Mhm.
sitting there going, why am I not doing well? What am I doing wrong? Like, should
Mhm.
I be this?
mhm,
Should I be more of that? And because that was the biggest thing. But I think one of the other things was when I first started, I was so focused on, am I supposed to have more chatters? Am I supposed to do this? Am I supposed to do that? And now I kind of focus on what would be good for me. Like what would
Yeah.
help with like what do I want to do type of thing.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. That's really
I,
important.
I start rambling and then I get
No,
I
very
please. Please
Sidetracked?
don't.
No, you're
We
fine.
have
I
3 hours. Please ramble
I
as
do
much as you want to.
I have to stop myself because I literally start rambling and then like I get, this is my anxiety so badly. I'll get in my head and be like, stop rambling, stop rambling. But then I just keep going and it's like word vomit. And I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? By the way, hi, what's up?
Also, super quick, just to take a minute to welcome in
Yeah.
our raiders
Yeah.
welcome in everybody.
who just came in to Smooshy's channel. Hello.
Smushy, we know people in common.
I know. It's a small world.
I love seeing the like how like small of a world Twitch actually is
For
Oh
sometimes.
yeah,
Like
real.
there's
For
millions of
real.
people on Twitch, and still like more times than not I'll go into a new chat and I'll be like, "Wait, I know you. Hold on, wait, I know you."
I've actually gone into like somebody that I've known for 3 or 4 years now, and I just realized he knew other people that I know, and I was like, "How do you? What? How do you all know each other?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
represented the Women's Guild last weekend in a Dead by Daylight tournament, and I met someone through that was on my team. And when she wanted to add me on Steam, she said, "Oh my God, I went through the list of people that we have friends in common. How did we never run into each other before?" But I kind of like to go back to the topic that we are. That's the kind of stuff that reminds me, about like happy things and valuable things and good things that come with streaming. So when I'm having a rough day, I try to remember small things like that, that bring a smile to my face, that help me, push that live button even when you're maybe not feeling 100% or when you're dealing with a lot of pressure. That's what I really like.
There's two things that come to mind for me of like as far as like on the topic of mental health of things that have been like so positive for me with streaming. One of them, I think I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm so bad with like knowing who's talking at any one time.
Oh, don't
But
worry.
whoever had said like when you get a message from somebody that's like, "Hey, I know you're struggling, but you did a great job today." This is my plea to the chats here. Like send the nice messages to your streamers because like I need you all to know how much those things mean to us when like I just recently had I don't even remember like what the occasion was, but basically had to do like a I canceled a big event that I was running just because it was not good for my mental health. I was not having fun with it, that kind of thing. And I got several messages from people in the community basically saying, "I'm really proud of you for advocating for yourself. And I'm really proud of you for knowing your limits and knowing when to stop." And I was so racked with guilt and like anxiety about the fact that I canceled it. And so to like get those messages of like affirming that no, you're like taking care of yourself is good, taking care of your mental health and like your own limits is good. That at least for me like fills me with so much life and fills me with just like I feel that so deeply like when people reach out with those kinds of things.
Which is
Um
weird because
and then also oh no, please go ahead.
I'm the complete opposite. Whenever I see a message like that, it fills me with this insane sense of anxiety and dread that someone could see that I wasn't feeling good when I couldn't see it in myself at the time. So I've had someone message me saying, "Are you okay? I haven't seen you stream this weekend. Is everything okay?" And it's a case of, "Oh crap, they figured me out." It makes
Figured it out.
They
it gives me
know.
a massive sense of dread because I feel like I don't really think I'm doing bad at the moment, but someone's noticed that I've not streamed, and
Well,
or even at the end of a stream, someone will be like, "Are you okay?" And it fills me with dread. I can't escape that feeling. It's like a case of I want to hide because at that point, I'm guessing I'm not wanting to accept that I'm not doing good.
Mhm.
Kind of I guess going back to the beginning of the discussion of like that it can be hard to like show those things sometimes.
Yeah.
Can be hard to be open about them.
Awkward silence.
Sorry.
And then my anxiety goes, fill the awkward silence.
Yeah.
Mine too. Yesterday when we were all on the call, it was quiet for a minute. I'm like, "Oh God, should I talk? Should I say something? I could just say rubber ducks. I just talked about rubber ducks."
I had to get very used to being okay with not filling the silence.
I'm
Yep.
not good at that. That is not
Still
my
working
strong
on that.
suit. I will talk about
Oh, I'm
anything.
still working on it every day, but I was like, this is bad. Like, it would be all the time.
Yeah. I see a message in chat about mental health and dealing with loss, and that's actually something that, as we were preparing for this panel, something that I was thinking about. I've
I
had
was
two cases where I was dealing with loss, and I was still like involved with like being active in a stream and once going live on a stream. And loss can come in many shapes and forms, right? It can be like loss of a loved one, or loss of identity, loss of safety, confidence, friendships, something that happens like at work, or a change in your health. Like it can be loss can is a big like term for something you it's something that happens, or something you can feel. And one of the cases, and I don't know if you've ever had to deal with something like this, but there was a day that was a date of that I like a what do you say, like someone had passed away on that date.
Mhm.
I
Like a death anniversary.
decided, yeah, so I decided it was up really early in the morning, and I was like, okay, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm just gonna go live and play my game. And it was super early, and a lot of people like came in early already, like of my community come in and say hi. And I decided to like to bring it up and to just like raise it as a topic. And it was so nice to see the community like come together and share stories of loss as well that they had. And it kind of like turned into this really like wholesome moment where we were bonding, and people were like telling me like, hey, it's okay, and I can't believe this happened to you, and this is so rough. And that really helped me through it. And I was thinking about like, ha- um have I ever felt like pressure to be okay on stream when I wasn't, and how you deal with that? And um I was thinking about it as I went live, but it turned out like really nice. And I was wondering like, have you any of you ever had been in that moment where you like you felt pressure to be okay to and then had to go live? And how did you deal with that?
I've actually, oh, sorry. If anybody else wants to go.
Go right
No, no, no,
ahead.
no,
You can
jump
go
in.
ahead.
No, so Wispa and I think it was MVP, right? That
About
just talked.
yeah, yeah, it
Yes,
was me.
yes.
Yes, MVP.
Okay, I want to make sure. I'm like, did I get it wrong?
You're fine.
Because you brought up loss and everything, and like having community and stream help you. Well, one of the things that actually also kind of started my journey with charity streaming is the fact that 2 years ago in January, a Twitch friend actually committed suicide, and I was in his suicide note. And like we
Mm,
had never met in person or anything like that. And I didn't stream for a bunch of days, and I let my community know why and everything. And I had other streamers that I was like going into their chats, and one of my friends, I just DM'd him, and was like, this is why I'm not really talking as much as I normally am. And he made it his and his community's like mission to put a smile on my face. But when I did stream again, did a charity stream for an organization that helps with like suicide and like things like that. And it's to write love on her arms, but I did it in his memory. That now I do it every year. I do it every year in his memory. And then like that same year, that friend that helped me with the suicide friend, he passed away losing his battle with cancer, and like it all hit me at once. But one thing is that like when I did press start stream, my community like allowed me to talk about it, like not allowed, but like they were there for me as I was talking about it. Like it was like the two times I've ever cried on stream was talking about my two friends and like what happened and everything. And it was just nice to know though that they actually like my chat actually said like if you need to don't stream, like you cannot hit start stream, like we would rather you take care of yourself rather than force
Yeah.
yourself to be here because it's not helping anybody. And like
It's
they
hard to remember
were able,
sometimes that you're a person and
yeah.
not just a
Mhm.
yeah,
performer.
Mm.
Mhm,
100%.
mhm.
And I felt very loved and like felt like I was getting a hug from them at the same time because,
Mhm.
like, they also, like we told stories about, like, if
Mm.
they knew my one friend either friend, like, they would tell stories about them, and, like, the friend that committed suicide, that hit my community hard because he was kind of big in my community. So we all were able to kind of lean on each other with.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
wonderful when you come
I feel that.
together. Yeah.
Last year, I like lost 3 members of my family like throughout the year, and I don't know how I would have got through all of that without my community behind me. Like they were ridiculously good, and it gave me something else to focus on rather than focusing on that, the losses and all the bad stuff. I could focus on all of the good things that were happening as well, which it was like really important because I went so into myself that year. It was not a good year,
Mhm.
but my community, they were amazing, and I couldn't have done it without them.
Yeah, I feel that I had 2 years ago actually, like just passed, was one of those, like, very, very low dark periods for me. I was living in a very bad situation, and, like, I will attribute the fact that I got out of that to my streaming community because it was a lifeline for me, and I think that can be, like, one of the for all of the ways that, Twitch and social media and everything can definitely, negatively, impact you and it, like, your mental health and your view of yourself in certain ways, having community that can follow you, and meet you wherever you are, can be so incredibly important. Um, because that like, having that community was the lifeline that pulled me out of it and or that I was at least able to hold on to pull myself out of it. And I actually I opened up about a year later, and talked about, like, what was going on and, being able to have those, like, really authentic moments, which for me don't happen often. MVP, I know that you were saying, like, the question of if you've ever felt pressure to, like, pretend like you're okay. Um, as much as I am a, like, advocate for it's okay to not be okay, feel your feelings, all of those kinds of things, I have to fight that impulse to paste on the smile, move on, like, be fine every single time that I am streaming and I'm not feeling great. Um, and, like, having a community that reminds you that, like, you are a person, that's, like, they see you as a person, um, can I think, like, has helped me see myself that way again because sometimes I don't feel that. Um, and so that was one of those few times that, like, I have had just that very, very authentic, like, breakdown and kind of sharing everything that was going on, and, like, since then has made it easier for me to, like, be more open about those things on stream.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I've got two examples. When I was very, very new to streaming, I was going for a rough spot. And I don't even know what was the cause of it. It was just, I was feeling absolutely awful. And I remember going live one day, and I was live for barely 20, 30 minutes. And one of the people, one chatter said, God, you sound awful. And that was it. I ended stream within 3 minutes. And I
Mm.
actually took a
Mhm.
massive
Oh, that's
hiatus
so
for about
rough.
6 months. And it was a
Yeah.
case of I just couldn't bring myself to go back because it was a case of that comment was, I think, a breaking point for me at that point. But then only a year ago, I went through a relationship breakup. And the first thing I thought of was, I need my community. I need them to help me through this because they'll understand, they'll push me forward, they'll keep me going. And it wasn't more of a pressure to press go live and to be normal, but it was more of a case of I knew that they would help and that they would remind me that there are brighter days to come because just with them being the way that they are, they help, they encouraged, and they were okay with talking it through with me, talking over what
Mhm.
happened and how I was feeling, and telling me that it was okay to feel that way. And I think it was a massive difference to the first example because before they were, oh, you sound awful. And then it goes from a whole different community that I have now that is like, are you okay? Do you need help? Do you want to talk about it? What happened? we're here for you. If you want to send us a message, send us a message. You can do whatever you need. We are here to get you through this bad time, because we know it is just a bad time and it's not going to last. And I think
Yeah, it's
that's
wonderful.
massive help, because everyone was accepting and understanding, and it's
Mhm.
kind of what you need when you're feeling rough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not to be
100%.
judged, but to be accepted and understood.
I'm
Mhm.
really glad that you have a community that does that now.
I am
Yeah, it's
too.
so important.
And
Mhm.
I love them so much for it, and I wouldn't be without them.
That's nice. You're always going to get a message in chat, whether it's one a
Mhm.
week or one a
Yeah.
month. I think I was
Mhm.
gaming last week, and the first time chatter came in, it said was their first question was, "How old are you?" And they were in my game, and I'm like, "What does it even matter?" Like, but it throws you off, right? So it's nice
Yeah.
to have your community have your back, or like
Mhm.
Yeah.
to see when someone's misbehaving in chat, to like have your community respond to them like in a nice manner, but in a, hey, these are boundaries that you're crossing that you shouldn't be crossing kind of way. So you come together. That's nice
Talking of
to hear.
you mentioning
Mhm.
boundaries, how do you set
Yeah,
boundaries? How does everyone set boundaries? Because I have to admit, I don't think I
Great.
know how to
Yeah.
set
good
boundaries.
topic.
I'm more of a
Mhm.
case of, you need help, send me a message, because they're there for me. I'm going to be there for them. But how do you guys set boundaries?
So something that I did in my Discord, whenever we set up we call it the mental health matters section, and so it's an opt-in role that I set up that like they opt into it to be able to see that section. And then one of the ways that I kind of like establish boundaries around that, right? Because it is as much as like we're talking about, normalization and like being open and talking about these things, there is that level of that you have to set boundaries with it, especially when it comes to streaming, because parasocial relationships um are a piece of mental health in streaming and can lead to a lot of issues. So one of the things that we did is that we have there's two roles that you can take in the mental health section, that is my DMs are open and I need to talk, so that you don't have to publicly say like, I need somebody to message me now. Like obviously you can if you want to, but that it changes the name of you, like the color of your name in our Discord, so that people know that you took that I need to talk one. But then it also shows you like who has consented to like being a listening ear, because that's the biggest thing, right? It's about consent.
Mhm.
There's a really big difference between sharing um struggles that you have had in an open forum like this, and dropping into someone's DMs unsolicited to trauma dump on them. And I think that this is a really good topic, especially for like women's mental health, because that is a burden that women often take on far
Mhm.
more.
Yeah.
Is people just, coming and just, here's an entire trauma dump of what's going on in my life. Because sharing your experiences is okay. Trauma dumping to someone who has not consented to it is not. Because like we're not there to fix it. We're like people aren't like people can offer support, but they're not there to like be your therapist.
Yeah.
So like as far as like setting boundaries, that's kind of something that I've done. And then also um learning how to talk to people in crisis, I think, is so incredibly important, or learning how to talk to people who are going through something. Um, that it doesn't have to be, here's advice, let me solve it. It doesn't have to be, I need every single detail. A lot of times it is, um, like I'm listening, I'm supporting you, and here's some resources, or how can we find you resources that this is more appropriate for, and kind of like redirecting some of those some of those dumps of like, I see that you're struggling, let's find you someone who can help, that's not me, because I'm not your therapist.
Mhm.
And it's a really 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 difficult
Mhm.
like balance to strike of openness, while also like setting those boundaries, maintaining those boundaries.
I agree. Like I in the Discord that I co-run a Discord. It's more of a community Discord rather than my own personal Discord.
Hmm.
And
Of course.
we have an area called peer support. We didn't want to tag like mental health because we're not therapists. You
Yeah.
know, we're just there to
Mhm.
if you need an ear, and it's run through a ticket system. But we also have another channel that's just for if you have a rant that you just need to get out,
Yep.
we have that. And that's more open. But like for real stuff, if you need to have a chat, then there is the ticket system there.
I
What a good
Yeah,
idea.
that's the rant thing is something we have as well of that's always been very clear to everybody of like use content warnings if you need it. I think is a really good first step also.
Yeah.
Again, because I like boundaries are about consent and using things like content warnings, option rule stuff like that creates opportunities for consent. Um and that there's so the way that ours is that it's a let it out channel. So it's just you can scream into the void and there is no pressure for people to respond. There is no pressure for people to like fix it or, coddle you or anything. It's just everybody kind of knows that is a space where you can just go scream, get it out of your head, put it somewhere. But like there's not a pressure, there's not expectation of people like picking up that burden for you.
Mhm.
Mhm.
in my Discord, I'm probably gonna rename it now because y'all are making me like, oh, that's a better thing to name it. But
Mhm.
We inspire each
like
other.
that
That's fine.
I do have like that mental health page, but I used it always more as like a screaming into the void where I just
Mhm.
let out my frustrations and everything. And one of my friends who's also an admin on my page and a mod of mine, he made a bot where you can do it anonymously. And like he'll be able to see if it's like something that's like really, really bad, like something that like, hey, we would need to call about. He would be able to see who did it. But otherwise, he doesn't look at that, and, like, it's literally whatever you wanna say, you message the bot, and the bot will post it as anonymous. So, like,
Oh, I
it
like
has a
that.
double-edged
Very
yeah,
good.
it has a double-edged sword of, like,
Mm.
okay, what if somebody starts talking about somebody? But, like, we made that rule of, like, this is not a place to, like, bitch about other people. This is a
Mhm.
place where you are just letting out a frustration that you have about life in
Mhm.
general.
Mhm.
And but I like the anonymous bot is nice because like it gives you that sense of I don't have to let everyone know that it's me, but at the same time, like if it was somebody that was like needing something right now, right away, we did have that ability to figure out who it was just in case.
Actually, I would
Mm.
I would really like to take this moment if it's okay with you guys, since we have a good like sample size of chats here, because we're talking about like things that we do for our communities, right?
Yeah.
Because the whole like anonymous versus not is something that I went back and forth on a lot on mine. So I would love to open this question up to chat. What is better for you guys as a whole, as a community? Like, is it something that you prefer for people to know it's coming from you? Or is having the option of posting it anonymously something that, would make you more comfortable, like, being able to share in those spaces?
Yeah, that's
Which,
a
like,
really good
obviously, like, we
question.
can continue the conversation, like, as answers filter in, but, like, that this
Yeah.
is just, like, for my own, like, research brain, I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay," like, while we have the opportunity,
No,
like,
this is good.
we're not experts in this at all, like, we're learning
Yeah,
alongside you
yeah.
guys, we're,
Mhm.
like, figuring it out alongside you guys, yeah.
You guys have given some really great ideas with having a specific section in your Discord because like, while we're like streaming and in chat, we do try to keep it like, hey, if you have something going on, like we'd love to hear it, but maybe put it in Discord so that like we can kind of get to it when we can.
Mhm.
And we have like resources and whatnot in our Discord, but having like a specific like section where you can scream into the void, like I love that idea. And yeah, I think that's great.
I mean, how I've used it sometimes in my own where, like, that I will go into my own rant channel, just be like, "I just need to, like, get this out of my head. Like, don't follow up with me about this. I just need to scream for a second."
Yeah, just get it out of the way, right? Out of your system. Not
Mhm.
necessarily to like solve
Mhm.
it for someone to help, just
Mhm.
like I don't know, just
Just to offload
get
and
rid
get
of
it
it.
out there.
I
Yeah.
think everybody needs that sometimes because
Yes.
people are so quick to give solutions, and it's like sometimes you don't want a solution, you just need to get it out of your head, and then you'll feel better.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That my biggest plea to people when it comes to like we're talking about, like we were saying earlier, learning how to talk to people when they're going through something. My biggest plea is to s- um don't immediately jump to trying to cheer somebody up. Because I think that that's something that can feel like it feels like you're doing a good thing, but it can feel very minimizing to what you're going through. Because like if I'm saying, here's this thing that I am hurting about, I'm opening up to you as a person about what I am going through because you've consented to it, where you've asked me what's wrong, and I'm telling you, and then your immediate reaction is, let me crack a joke, let me do something to cheer you up, let me
Mhm.
make you feel better. Can a lot of times have that opposite effect of you aren't trying to listen, you're trying to make me feel better for your own comfort. And I think that Sharkate was saying earlier, like with their experience in medical triage is like you don't need to fix it.
Yeah.
Like you don't people for the most part, like and most of us who are on our own mental health journeys, fixing it is what we do with our therapists, fixing is what we do with our doctors, what we do, those kinds of things. Peer support is about being an ear and just saying, I see you where you are. I see
Mhm.
the struggle that you're going through, and I am here to listen. Do you want to vent? Do you want advice? Do you want a distraction? Like I think are some of the that was like some of the best
Yeah.
advice I
Good
ever got
point.
of what to ask somebody, like when you are having those discussions, is meet them where they are instead of assuming that you want to make them stop feeling sad at all costs, or you want to
Mm-hmm.
fix it for them.
Yeah,
I
I think
wish more people knew that. Sorry. I was
Mm-hmm.
just gonna say I've lost friends because I quote unquote didn't take their advice when I would be venting. And all I kept thinking was sometimes I don't want advice. I just want to
Yep.
express my
Mm-hmm.
feelings.
mhm. I was gonna say
Yeah.
something, but I forgot what it was.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm
No, it's
sorry.
okay. I do it
You're
all the
fine.
time.
I was thinking that's for the Discord that works really well, and to have that channel, and it kind of also allows you to respond in your own time. To come
Mhm.
back to the topic of boundaries of when it happens during a live, because you're there, you're reading the
Yeah.
chat, you're
Mm-hmm.
doing
Mhm.
something, and you have other people in chat as well, and you're maybe in a conversation. What I do to set boundaries, sometimes it's such a um present message that I can't always tell if someone's trolling for a reaction or if they're actually in trouble or asking for help. And this is
Mhm.
kind of like, I don't know if that ever happened to you, but for like setting boundaries, I always kind of try to just go kind of like the safe way of both sides, and be like, this person has to understand that maybe it's not the right place to be sending heavy
Mhm.
messages like that, especially if it's someone that it's new or a first time chatter, because you don't really know, like, are they asking for help or not. um just to say, hey, be mindful of where you are, what you're asking from me, what do you want. And at the same time say, I if this, not like literally say, hey, is this really happening to you, but kind of like say, if you are actually going through this, here's what I can think of that can help or support. But just yeah, be mindful that they, like, sometimes I feel like people forget, and we've said this already, that you're a person at the other side of the camera, and
Yeah.
they're just like, let me do this, and it's okay to say these things or to throw that at someone, and I'm just sitting there like, what are you even asking of me? Like, what can I do? Yeah, and if it's
Yeah.
if it's real or not, like just like I always try to be mindful, it could be real. Like I want to listen to you and hear you out, but I also kind of like give back, like please understand where you are and what you're asking of me.
Mhm.
When I get that in my stream, because you can be doing a stream and talking about something completely different, and then you'll just get a message come up that will completely change the mood. And
Yeah.
and I find that I can't handle that. So I will always say, we have a space in the Discord. You are more than welcome to join, but on my stream, it's not the place for it because this is not somewhere. I'm not a therapist.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And this is not somewhere where I'm comfortable in public talking about your mental health. Let's go somewhere where we can actually talk about it.
Mhm.
I think with me, I before my laptop died, I used to have a command that was support, and it was literally a message that would pop up saying, "We understand everyone else has mental health issues, but we are not professionals. We are not licensed professionals.
Mhm.
We can listen, but please seek help through your relevant resources." And I wouldn't even address it on stream. Unless, for example, someone comes in and says, "Oh, my pet died," I'll be like, "I'm sorry to hear that. That's about it." I wouldn't go further than a quick brush of the topic and move on, because it's a heavy topic and not everyone's there to see that sort of thing. And by using a
Mhm.
command, I can just press a button, have the message pop up, and it'll have like a link to my Discord where there's the mental health sort of resources link that I'm trying to fill up with resources from across the world for whatever country.
Mm.
But I will never really address the message, the heavy message that's been said, because some people come in and do
Mhm.
it to get the attention. And
Hmm.
if I give it
Yeah.
attention, it encourages them. And I don't want to encourage that because, again, I'm not licensed. I can't do that kind of thing because,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's monopolizing our time. We can't focus heavily on one person's pain and problem at whilst we're streaming,
Mhm.
trying to entertain everyone else. It's something that they need to address through appropriate support links.
I've tried to kind of find a balance with it for me and my community, in that obviously, like we were saying earlier, like there's a difference between trauma dumping and being open and sharing about like what you're experiencing.
What you're going through, yeah.
Hmm.
Especially if it is like uh add to the like already the mood and the topic at hand, right? Because if like I'm giggling, laughing, having a good time with friends playing a silly game, and somebody comes in and is like, I got dumped and I feel awful and all this, it's like that's not appropriate, right? Like
Yeah.
this is not the time. We have a section in Discord, do that. But I have kind of tried to find a balance. Especially like I did like a really long subathon event last year that a lot of it ended up being like just chatting, and that was honestly like when we started doing like when we started the mental health section and doing like more advocacy work and things like that, because when you're spending so many hours a day, it's like you can't just be like fully entertaining all the time. You have to just be a person. And so I've tried to kind of, when I have the mental space for it, meeting people where they are with that, of like, you know, when it is done respectfully and when it's done like, if I ask someone, like somebody comes in, I'm like, "Hey, how are you? How's your day been?" And they say, "It's been pretty awful, this and that happened." If I have kind of the mental capacity for it, the mental space for it, I will ask follow-up questions. Obviously, again, if it is somebody in crisis, if it is something really, really severe that would warrant like trigger warnings, anything like that, that's when we pass it off to,
Hmm.
here's resources, or like let's take this off stream. Um, but I have kind of tried to be a little bit more open about that, because for me at least, what I found was that um, if I don't allow other people to come into my stream not in a super happy, great mood, I can't allow myself to do it either, which goes back to kind of what we were saying at the beginning of this, of like, then I have to be performing all the time. I have to be happy all the time. I can't, ever be sad. And it has led to some really like fruitful conversations within my community about some more difficult topics about, like relationships and family and things like that. And it's never like a really long, like drawn out, we're all gonna trauma dump. But it has, it's made it so that we can talk about some of these things a little bit more casually. Um and I think that that's been one of the things I've really loved to see, that's become like a I don't want to say a trend, but like a normal thing in my community is people talking about the mundane stuff of mental health. Like chatting about like when like I was super open with my community about when my meds changed and like when I started on mood stabilizers last year and like was kind of warning to them about like if things are really weird for a while, this is kind of like what's happening, and like sharing my experience with that. But also like my community talks a lot about like when not necessarily like what we talk about in therapy, but sort of normalizing the idea of being in therapy, having those regular sessions, or just some of those like smaller things, so that it's not always about I need to trauma dump because I'm in crisis because I haven't been able to talk about it, but like microdosing those things, I think has really helped create a culture within my community where we don't get the big trauma dumps. Um because like I've kind of relaxed a little bit because I found that that has helped set better boundaries when I can kind of choose when I'm willing to engage with that. That was a very
Yeah.
long real monologue, I'm sorry.
I really like the idea of like microdosing though. I think that sounds really healthy, and like just talking and the mundane stuff, because when it comes to mental health, everyone focuses on the big things and not
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
like the small daily struggles or the tiny things that happen.
Yeah, like I found that obviously like with mental health, and like we've talked about it here a lot, is like the like you said, the heavy things like grief, depression, going through really dark periods and things like that. um One of the things that I think has helped me with unmasking, but also normalizing it a little bit more, and it's seeing people relate when I share stories, and like being more open about those things when I share them, I think has been really nice for me, like, when I share, embarrassing anxiety stories. Like, I'll share, like, here's this, like, ridiculous anxiety spiral that I had about, somebody that I met, or, like, something that happened, and here's why I haven't done my laundry in 3 days, of, like, sharing that, like, thing, because for one, it's like I have the opportunity to vocalize it so that I'm not sitting with this thing that feels like a secret, but then kind of giving that opportunity for people, in my community to kind of see that, like relate to it, and and find common ground, and find, that support in knowing that they're not the only ones going through those things. Because I think sometimes, like, some of those things that, like, feel embarrassing or feel, like, really ridiculous and feel really, like, this is right, like the internalizing spirals, yeah, when that is entirely internalized, like when I can't talk about that, I know how much that sucks, and so I like to sort of leave room for people to engage with it, while, like, like you were talking about earlier, like, still maintaining those boundaries of, if this gets to a too heavy of a point, let's move on, you know?
I internalize spiral all the time. um, but I was gonna kind of say also, like, I'm very upfront, as I said, like about what I go through, good, bad, clumsiness, embarrassing. And I bring that also in when I teach, when I taught, I bring that in the classroom with me. I can't tell you how many times I have tripped, I have fallen, I in front of my students that are middle school students, and will rag on you until, like, middle school kids are a whole nother level.
Middle schoolers
Um
are awful.
they can be mean
They can be so
sometimes
mean.
to each other especially, but like I also tell them like I will be very upfront with them and I will say, "Hey guys, not a good day today. Really bad day," or like, "Let's make this a better day," like things like that. And I always try to make sure that they feel safe, that they can say to me, "Miss, I'm having a bad day. Please don't like call on me to answer things as much." And I normally am like,
Mhm.
"No, I get that," because I always used to hate when I would be like in my head or anxious or depressed about something and like the teacher would call on me. And I always tell the students also like, "Hey, let me know if you don't like reading aloud or talking aloud or answering aloud because I know even though I teach, even though I stream and I talk in front of people, I have the worst public speaking. It gives me so much anxiety to think about getting up in front of a room full of people, a crowd, and talking. I don't know why, like, I like almost throw up when I do it, when I have to think about doing it. But it's funny because some of the kids will come to me and they were like, "We didn't realize that, like, you turn it off very well, but when you have a bad day that's really bad and you let us know, it kinda like, they flat out said, "It makes me feel more human in their eyes." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks, I think."
I think a big part of that too is building trust and building relationships, right? Like, and that's it's a hard balance to strike with streaming and with communities. But I've become more okay with not having a one size fits all solution for every person in my stream. Like, I think that there's like and again, this is what's worked for me. This may not be like what works for everybody. Um, but as much as I am a person, my community members are also people. And I am going to like we're going to build bonds of trust, and we're going to build bonds like that, like strengthening those relationships and that trust through time, through sharing and things like that. And so there is a big difference to me of somebody who's a first time chatter, or who the only thing that they ever do is come into stream and trauma dump. I'm not gonna treat that the same way as I'm gonna treat somebody who has been in my community for 3 years, is very active, is very supportive of people, and, like you were saying, if they're like, "Hey, I'm having a bad day. I just want to, lurk. I'm just here because, like, you know, to cheer me up," kind of a thing. Like, I'm probably going to engage with that more than I am like the other person, because like all of this just goes back to like treating people like people, right? I think
Yeah.
it's really easy to for both like viewers and community members to view us as like not people because we're performers, but also I think it can go the other direction as well. And I a lot of this is just about building trust with with the people in your life and the people in your
I
communities.
I think I agree with this. I think also I think we're all kind of so wary of forming those parasocial relationships. It can almost be a boundary in itself to making those connections with people.
Mhm.
Like oh my god, the words. Uh,
Words are
You're good,
hard.
take your time.
so like you don't want to let people in too much because some people are weird and
Mhm.
they can take things too
Yeah,
far. And I think protecting your space from that is important, but also
absolutely.
remembering that these are people at the other side of the keyboard is really important, and what you say to them can have an effect. Like if you just
Mhm.
go in there and be straight dismissive, that's not good for anyone.
Mhm.
So I think
Yeah.
you have to find that balance, and it is a really fine line.
And you have to find what works for you. Um, like, if streaming is something that you come to as a form of, I am here full time, this is a job, I'm an educator, or I am like a professional doing this, that person is going to have a lot different boundaries than somebody who like for me, this is just my community. Like this is where I like, you know, take the weight off my shoulders at the end of my day. Um and but like you said, like you do have to be careful about those parasocial relationships. And as far as like maintaining those boundaries, but I think um being gentle about knowing that those boundaries can shift, they can look different for different people. There isn't a one size fits all solution. Um, I think is really important too because like for me, I feel like there's always so much advice going around that I don't want to do streaming wrong. I don't want to be like the wrong kind of streamer. But like, you know, at the end of the day, like my community has given so much to me and so much support to me that I want to show up for them in the ways that I can. Um, while, you know, like when I have the capacity and when I'm able to.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it comes back to like a case by case uh evaluation of how,
Hmm.
when and how far can you go with still being safe. So you
Mhm.
have to make a decision at a certain point to say, okay, I feel comfortable enough to share and to be open in this group or with these people, whether it is on a live stream or in the Discord, without losing your feeling of feeling safe and being secure. And I think
Yeah.
that's a case by case base that you deal with as a streamer or content creator, being out there and talking about emotions and going live on days where you're not feeling like super mentally in perfect conditions. And I don't know how, if you have any experiences or how you deal with that uh on those days, or how what kind of tools do you use to help make that decision to go live and to either talk about it completely or to not talk about it, and how do we think it affects the stream?
I like being kind to yourself when like you're kind of in that mindset. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know, because I feel like I deal with that a lot too.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Sometimes just being kind to yourself is like one of the hardest things, though.
It is true.
You have to get out of that mindset of I'm so bad at this, I'm awful at everything. And you just have
Yeah.
to say it's okay to be bad at
Mhm.
this. You don't have to be perfect at everything. And some days you're gonna stumble, and some days it's gonna be amazing, and then other days it might not be. And you kind of have to give yourself a little bit of like leeway.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or at least
We
if you're like struggling to find, you're seeing everything bad that you do, just find one thing that you do good and
Hmm.
focus on that, because as long as you
Hmm.
can find that one
True.
small thing, then there's going to be something else and other things that you're not seeing.
we've developed a habit of lovingly bullying each other in my community. In that and this was something that started during that subathon I was talking about last year. Where when somebody says something about bad about themselves, and my chat holds me to this, and for that reason I hold them to it as well. And now it's become like a community thing of, if I call myself stupid, if I say like I'm a dumbass or whatever, the train stops moving, and it is, take that back and say something nice about yourself. And like, but we all do, it's become a thing, like we all do it to each other now.
That's such a good thing
Of
though.
and it is, and it sounds so silly that it's like, you know, just say something nice. But uh, like research has shown that if you fake, like your brain will believe things if you fake it long enough. And if you have terrible self-worth, and you just look in the mirror every day and say something that sounds like a lie to yourself that's nice, after enough repetitions, your brain will start to believe that. Because how we talk about ourselves, how we talk to ourselves, shapes the way that we feel about ourselves. And so that's become kind of one of those like lead by example things. And it's been really cool to see sort of the progress that not only I have made, but that like the changes I've noticed in my community of people that will now catch themselves rather than like you'll hear somebody start to say like, oh my God, I'm so stupid. They'll be like, I'm a person and I made a mistake. And then everybody will be like, oh my
Yeah.
God, you're so to you. And it's like genuinely like a change that I have seen. And I have had multiple people tell me that like that they've told their therapists about it, that they've told like that this is a thing that we do, and that it's like that they've started to do it to other people, where they'll tell someone like, why did you just apologize to me? Please take that back. I don't want your apology. Don't like, you don't need to apologize for taking up space or like saying bad things about themselves. And like that's been one of those really cool things for me of like that it has been like a community effort of changing that like negative self-talk, and that the community has kind of come together around that it's not just about me, it's not just about like, you know, me being available for people to tell their problems to, but that the community has normalized this enough that it's a team effort, that we don't let anybody get away with it. Like I
Yeah,
can be in the
perfect.
middle of a game, I can be in the middle of the event, and I will pause what I'm doing and sit there and stare at the camera until the person who says something takes it back and says something kind about themselves. And so that's been like one of those fun things. And again, it's like the mundane things. It's not the big stuff, but is just like it's a really, really small thing that has made a huge impact in my community.
And it
I
brings a
love
smile to people's
that.
face. Like, it's a nice way to go about it.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah, because like Liz was like, we're all our own worst
Person.
critics. Absolutely.
Mhm.
100%.
Oh yeah.
I guess like while we have a little like lull, if chat does have any questions, obviously like we have some other topics that we're gonna bring up, but at any point, whether now or ever, and I think that there was a couple of questions earlier, that like we were in the middle of a discussion, but if you did ask something or like had something you wanted to add, please feel free to resend it, and we'll address those as well.
Oh, and everyone hydrate.
Oh,
Dawn's done a
that's a good point.
redemption.
Great
but
point.
Right.
hydrate.
Intermission
Does
hydration.
Pepsi count?
And posture checks. Here we go.
Checks.
That's the one thing I'm always awful at, is posture checks. I'll end up just
Oh yeah.
slowly folding in on myself, getting comfy with my blanket.
Mhm.
I think, yeah, what was the saying? It's like it's so easy to say nice things about someone else.
Hmm.
Why is it so hard to say it about our own self?
Yeah, something I learned
Mhm.
from therapy was, if like the things I think about myself, would I say like what I think to another person? And it's like, no, I wouldn't. I would, I'd say you're doing a good job, and I'd say I would turn it out positive. And he's like, you need to talk about yourself like that, which we do not do enough.
No.
I'm
And
guilty of not doing enough.
it's setting an example too, right? Like that we can spout about, be nice to yourself and mental health and advocacy and everything all day long. But if we don't walk that walk, if we don't treat ourselves that same way, what example are we setting? Because like we are role models in some ways. Like we are in
Mhm.
positions of leadership. Even if you have a really small community, you are still a figure that people look up to.
Yeah.
And there is a responsibility in that. There is a responsibility in leading the charge. Um, but it's hard. It is really, really, really hard to be able to kind of shift that to being okay with liking yourself and with talking about the good things about yourself.
Okay, so since we're on the topic, why don't we all say, and chat too, all say something that we're good at? Haha.
Don't all jump in at once.
Yeah,
And
there you
nobody
go.
won. Nobody won.
Conversations.
Yes, the dogs were barking, so I had to mute again. I'm good at muting really fast sometimes. No. Still nobody's going.
Okay, fine.
I'm thinking, I'm thinking.
I'll go first, and since I'm the one that brought it up, I'll go first. I'm really good. At least I think I'm really good at organizing stuff. That's one of my strong suits. I am the happiest when I am organizing an event or getting a bunch of people together to do something. That is my happy place, and I'm good at it. I think so.
Love that.
That's great.
Angelic should know because she took part in the Boo Awards last year, which I did, I believe.
What did I do?
Did you do the Boo Awards last year?
Oh, yeah. I was like, what did I do? What am I getting called out for? Probably, I would say one
I
of the
think
things that I'm really good at is I tend to listen more than react. Or like and this is gonna sound so bad. I listen to listen, I don't listen to respond. And I've been trying to do that more because I say this to my kids all the time, also my students all the time, also like, y'all don't listen to hear me. You listen to respond to what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to do that more in teaching with my friends, with my family. I got kicked in the head 3 times by this pug who was trying to lay down and get comfy. Apparently he did not like my head where it was. But yeah. Next.
Yeah, what I'm kind of known for, it's also planning and organizing. Like if you look at my day or my calendar, it's like this giant Tetris puzzle of things that I put together. I spoke earlier about how I've changed from being like having a full-time office job to doing all these different things. So I have weeks where I do 3 streams a week. I do cat sitting twice a day. That's at someone's house. I have a dog that I'm dog sitting at my house that I walk 4 times a day. I do content creation, and I do the part-time office job. I have a husband, I have a cat, and then my mom sometimes calls and says, "Hey, don't you think it's time to come for dinner?" And I kind of like fit all of those little blocks into my schedule. My tourney practice goes in there, and yeah, that's, I think, something that I'm good in and something that my community knows me for, is the planning and organizing skill.
I am very good at being a jack of all trades. Like I there is my think some of my best and worst traits is that I have a delusional amount of confidence in the things that I can learn how to do. Um especially like when it comes to like anything like like crafty or physical or mechanical, like making something, fixing something, building something. If there's a YouTube video for it, I'm going to learn how to do it. And like it may not be perfect the first time, but it's going to be a damn good attempt. And like that's always something that I really excelled in. I've had a million different hobbies, and I've the skill of learning skills is something that I've become very good at.
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Mhm. I can see my mod staring at me. I like to say, even though I doubt myself daily, that I am a good mom and that
Oh,
Love
I
that.
I love that.
I can provide a safe space for my kids and also just encourage them to be themselves. And I mean, hell, I have purple hair, and now both my kids very much want their hair color, and just yeah, just
If you don't
encourage
mind
them
me
That's
putting you
great.
to be.
if you don't
I
mind me
love
putting you
that.
on the spot a little bit, Starshea, it doesn't have to be something big, but is there something that you like about yourself outside of your identity as a mother, just as a person?
You know, it's funny because it's like I feel like I really found myself through streaming. That identity of the identity of outside of being a mom, right? I feel like I have found a new love for like just creating, editing, and just being able to talk to others and holding space for those like who need it. I feel like that's like
Mhm.
a big thing I try to do. And I like reading too. I'm a good reader.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, that's me.
I love that.
Think we have one more. I'm counting correctly. Unless I'm mistaken, but I don't think Smooshy has gone, have they?
I mean, I said it right at the
Mushy.
beginning, but I'm happy to repeat.
Oh, okay, I
But
wasn't sure who already had or
I
not.
think there was a bit of overlapping, so I'm happy to say again.
I may have
Yeah.
counted wrong, like that might be my bad.
No, I'm happy to say again. So I'm really, I think like you, jack of all trades. So I've done knitting, crochet, jewelry crafting, all kinds of hobbies and crafts. Anything that is physical crafts. I need the physical aspect to keep my hands busy. But I am an excellent problem solver. I'm excellent with my numbers. So I work in supermarket. Not the best job in the world, but it's a job that pays the bills. And I will be serving customers, and I can instantly calculate their change, no matter what they're doing and how much they mess it up. I'm instantly ready to give them the correct change from whatever they've done. I can, yeah, numbers seem to be my strong point because they're solid. They don't change. I'm no good for languages, but that's okay because I've got numbers and puzzles and problem solving. And I think that's
Well,
all I need.
numbers are a type of language. They're universal.
True.
Mhm.
Very
Yeah,
true.
it's
So
true.
you are winning. I am atrocious with numbers. I can barely count on my fingers. So
I'm an English teacher, and when my students ask for help with math, I laugh. I go, no, absolutely not. I was like, guys, I've messed up on grading your things because of math. I'm not helping you with math.
The whole jack of all trades. I do love that because I also feel like any just like random hobby or anything like that I pick up, I immediately one hyperfixate on it. That is my new personality, right? And then I become really good
Mhm.
at it and then move on to the next thing.
It's nice to learn new things though, right? And
It
yeah.
it's
is,
something
yeah.
that, you feel like accomplished and it brings a
Mhm.
smile to your face to look at something you've
Mhm.
made.
Yes.
It's value.
I feel like streaming has really opened doors to that for me because I've learned editing. You know, I made my own avatar. I want to learn how to 3D model, but Blender hates me.
Blender is I've done some work in Blender. It is a beast in and of itself.
I made a cupcake and it looked really nice in Blender. But then when I put it in Unity, it was see-through, and I'm like, I don't know what I've done, and it was it was a whole thing.
I did there's like a tutorial there's like for like an intro for a course of it's like a sword in the stone animation that it's really cool and you do like all the lightning effects around it and it's like this whole animation and it looks really neat and I did that on stream at one point and it turned out really cool And then you're like, cool, I did this one project. Let me try my own thing now. And I was like, well, here's a sphere.
That reminds me,
Hard. It's really hard.
I once paid for a course with Blender, and it had this lovely little ball with a house on, and you had to do the things. And no matter what I did, I was adding these gigantic spikes out of it, and I couldn't figure out what I was doing. And there was massive dents, and there was a massive hole, and I just lost it, and I gave up.
There was a question from Tobias earlier that said, I know that Sushi has had girls' nights in their streams. Have any of the others had opportunities to support other female streamers?
I don't think, in a sense, no, but most of my streamer friends are female, and I'm always in their chats, or if I'm finished and they're live, I'll raid into them. And it's mostly, I look at my follow list, and 70%, maybe higher, are female streamers, and I'll just end up raiding into them or staying in their chat for a bit, or even joining them with games if I'm able to.
I feel like that's the same
Right.
for me.
Nice.
I haven't. The majority of my followers were male, and the majority of my community was male at one point. But I think since joining the Women's Guild, I've gotten to know, because finding women online is harder than you think it would be, and
Yeah.
you know. But since joining the Women's Guild, that has really helped. That has opened so many doors, and I've got to meet so many amazing women, and it's been fab. That's one thing for me. And I think my streams are leaning more towards that now, and less male-dominated chat.
I think that's something I've
Nice.
struggled with a lot, is like my this is a conversation I was actually having with my therapist yesterday. Was just like the struggling sometimes that like a lot of my social circle, especially through streaming and things like that, is very male dominated. And having a tough time like connecting with other women, especially just like in this space, because we definitely are the minority when it comes to especially gaming and things like that. So like spaces like the Women's Guild are so important for that, because our experiences are different, and like the things that we go through are a lot different.
I'm just gonna say this: the Women's Guild scares me. Putting my name down for this event was the first time I've posted there.
Well,
That's so
Let's
exciting!
go.
Congrats!
We should
Yay!
celebrate. That's huge.
I haven't. That is the first time I've posted. I've been there for about a year and a half, and it just terrifies me and intimidates me, and it's just so fast moving, and I'm scared, and I'm like, I don't know who these people are, and I'm scared. What if they think?
Nah,
I'm
you're doing
weird?
great. What do you mean?
I think you're
I had
doing
no
really
idea
well.
you were nervous.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You got this.
So I've posted
Yeah.
a lot in the Women's Guild, and I've taken part in some stuff, and I was still nervous coming into this. So
Oh, I was terrified coming into this.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Same.
I was like, oh my god, should I just cancel?
No way.
That was my thought process an hour before this. I was
standing in the shower. I was standing in the shower like 45 minutes before we started, going like, oh, how bad would it be if I just dropped out?
Nah, this is it. This is the beauty, and that's why, to come back to the topic, we support each other. Women support each other. We've got each other's back. And for my community, what I've done, I think it was last year, was so I played Dead by Daylight. I've already shared this with you. I've done a ladies' night where I invited 3 female gamers to join me for a lobby. We had female characters. We changed our names to we had pink drinks, and we changed our names to something. I don't have the exact example, but one of my mods, she was here earlier, her name was Mina, so it was like Mojito Mina or something. So like we made it like a fun like thing for it was like a girls' night, or like yeah, do you remember, Mina, when we did girls' night on DVD, when it was the 4 of us, and we had pink drinks, and we changed the names and everything. So that's one of the things I did. And one other thing, I don't know for those of you that aren't into DBD, this weekend was the start of the World Cup for Femme in DBD. So that's happening this weekend, and I'm in the team for the Netherlands. And it was really hard to put together a team of minimum of four femme um, Dutch DVD players that were either experienced enough or willing to play like competitive Dead by Daylight. And
Mm-hmm.
I went through my entire community and friends list and everybody that I knew, and put together a team that was three, that is now five, with adding two members from my community that aren't content creators, but that are active in gaming and Dead by Daylight, being Dutch women, and to give them this opportunity to play comp DBD in an official tournament that is being broadcasted this weekend. That's really cool, and they're like super excited to be a part of that. So I think
You said
it's
that's this
really.
weekend?
Yeah, so my game's
Oh,
tomorrow. So
cool.
it's UK Netherlands
Oh,
tomorrow and Finland Netherlands tomorrow as
Wow.
well. We're doing that tomorrow in the afternoon, and then if we make it through the next round, there's semifinals and finals next weekend. So yeah, I think it's important for women to stick together and to find opportunities to like either work together or like do something together, an event. And yeah, the Women's Guild definitely has opened my how do you say, my possibilities or opportunities to do stuff like this, meet all of you guys and see,
Mm-hmm.
what comes from that in the future. I've only just joined in January, and yeah, I'm jumping on everything. I'm just gonna roll with it, and yeah, we should keep doing that. Like that's
yeah.
such an important thing. Like we've got to support each other.
One of the things you reminded me, one of the things I'm planning in the future, once my PC is fixed and I can use my avatar properly again, is a girly slumber party stream where we're all going to wear pajamas and just play
Love
a
that.
survival game, but make it ridiculously girly.
That's cute.
I love that.
I would love to actually like pose a question kind of following up on this topic. I guess two ways to answer it. Either A, what are some ways that you guys feel like you could use more support from other women, especially as it pertains to like mental health in the streaming space? Like where do you feel like you are like lacking in that? Or does anybody have any like ideas or like brainstorming of like ways that we can support each other in that?
I think just being there for each other is like the biggest thing, because we all come from a place of understanding. We all go through similar things. It might not be exactly the same, but I think we've all had experiences that mirror each other.
Yeah,
So I think
Mhm.
just being an ear for someone and say, I've been what you're going through. You're not on your own. Just making sure that, because it can feel very isolating going through mental health, and knowing that other people have been through the same thing, and they might have come out the other side of it, but some people might still be struggling, but knowing you're not going through that struggle on your own is so important.
100%. Is there anything specifically though that we think like we could do for that sort of thing? Like host an event, or like how would you go about that? I'm trying to think as
Mm,
well.
Yeah, like, I don't know that if this necessarily pertains to, like, specifically among female streamers, I guess, like, in ways, because like, I think, a lot of people, like, we all tend to kind of become part of each other's communities in Twitch a lot.
mm.
Something that I'm thinking about is, like, similar to the discussion we had about a mental health space in Discord, um, is having a, like, dedicated women's space, I think would be something, I may, like, look at starting that so not only that's like a where, like that women can talk without like having that kind of like private space, but also the opportunity to have like either hangout nights or like VCs or things like that, that like when you do want that just like women's space for like women supporting women, like having kind of a dedicated space for that, I think might be something that I would be interested at least in looking into for my own community. And obviously having that as like an open thing to like community being a broad term of the people who watch my streams as well as like other streamer friends and stuff like that that are in my orbit. Which I think is like, also something that the Women's Guild does very well as well, as like being that kind of space for people.
Yeah, I try to relate stuff, events and things to in-game events. So in DBD you have 2v8 where you can have 8 survivors play together. So it could be something like that. I'm just thinking out loud, but to do like fem streamers, fem gamers, and
Mhm.
to do an event like that, bring people together, or something creative. Like we were talking earlier about how you discover stuff that you can and do and like to do on stream, and something I started doing, which was completely new after like at least 2.5 years of just streaming the game Dead by Daylight, was to sit on a Sunday morning, grab a diamond painting. I don't know if anybody knows what that is,
Oh
but you
yes,
get these
yes.
little
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get these little diamonds, and you kind of like color in, if you will, the picture with the sticky diamonds, and it's made my life so much better to learn that I can find the time to like sit there and do that, and to have people come over and chat to me. So I would love to do like a creative like chatting session, and like either where the streamers are doing the same thing, just hanging out, chatting, and doing like diamond painting or crochet or something,
Mhm.
or like workshops even. Whereas if you go like, hey, this is something that I learned how to do, can you teach me like to put together a little group of 4 or 5 and like teach each other about your hobbies and how, you know, how to crochet or how to whatever hobby it is that you got. Like those kind of things come
Mm.
to mind. I would love doing that with like a group
I'd love to learn
of
how to
fans.
croquet.
Right? Like I can learn how to crochet.
Well, my grandma once tried to teach me how to knit, and that didn't take. I couldn't get my head around it. The needles, I was so confused.
Crochet's much easier than knitting, but I've been knitting since I was 4 years old. My nan taught me how to knit, and it's something that I've never forgotten.
Yeah, I can
My
imagine.
grandma gave up. She was like, "Nope, I'm done."
She can't do it. I think I remember doing knitting when I was 12 in like a group, and I kept making extra rows, but I didn't know how, to a point where the teacher came up to me and said she didn't even understand how I managed to get the extra rows on, and I think that was pretty much the last time I did that as well.
That almost like MVP, like
Anything.
what you were saying, almost makes me think of like the uh like sip and paint nights that you see a lot. But
Yes,
that's just like almost like Skillshare groups.
right?
Mm-hmm. I think having a night like that would be cool every once in a while with
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
100%.
just put
women
your
Mhm.
and
hair down and
connecting.
relax and have fun.
Exactly.
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure.
I think we
I think
gotta hydrate
also,
again.
yeah, my water's
Thank you,
empty.
Lake, for the hydrate.
I know it's not to like call you out, but Starshey, I know that you haven't had as much opportunity to talk, and you had a topic that you brought up that we haven't really touched on. Do you want to talk a little bit on that?
Sure. Let me pull this up because otherwise I will forget what I'm talking about.
I
Yeah,
can.
social media and mental health.
I
I kind of
am
wanted
listening.
to.
I'm just gonna fill my water super
Oh,
quick.
you're good. I just wanted to talk about like the balancing aspect of like social media and how it can affect mental health. Like I feel like social media has made like a huge presence with advocating for mental health. Like I have found so many just different like charity groups and just a lot of people who really try to make it known like different aspects of mental health, acknowledging that it's not like a black and white. It's very much like a everyone deals with mental health in their own way. Um and also just like being chronically online. Like me personally, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and then this is what I do. I don't leave my house a whole lot. I don't leave my house a
Mhm.
whole lot, and it could be very easy to just be home and not realize that I haven't connected with anyone else outside of the home for a while.
Mm.
And I feel like social media has like helped and also hurt in a way. It's kind of, it's a balancing act, right? Um yeah. Yeah. I lost my train of thought there.
That's okay.
um it's I feel like it can be hard, especially where in social media like you see a very fraction of what someone wants you to see. And I feel like it's hard not to compare ourselves to everybody else out there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And that could be really rough with mental health, like we were saying earlier, like with the numbers with streaming, or like how many likes did this video get versus this video,
Mm.
and how much it can actually affect our mental health when we're just so focused on that. And I think it is important to disconnect every once in a while for your own health, whether that's touching grass, taking a walk. um I know like weightlifting is like a huge thing for me. It's a huge just like outlet. Um yeah. Do you guys have any like experiences with social media affecting like your own mental health?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I don't know. It's
Absolutely.
like I
Yeah.
think the
Um,
only social media really, I guess if we call it that, is Twitch for me. I don't really use any of the others. And going back to like numbers and view account and things like that, it's something that I've never ever looked at. I don't pay attention to it. I never have it visible anywhere because, to be honest, it doesn't matter if I've got 1 or 10 or 20 or however many people are there. That one person is the only one that matters. Doesn't matter about the rest. As long as one person's there, I'm happy. So it's like for me, I don't really notice any sort of detrimental effects from social media just because I truly have limited myself to it.
Mhm.
I've started limiting myself to social media. I have specifically because I live in the States. Um, and with yeah, yep, sushi. With
Mhm.
everything that's going on within the states, and that's how I'm going to just keep saying it, within the
Yep.
states.
January,
um
February was sure a time to exist
oh my
online.
god.
Oh my
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
I
it
think
sucks
I
to be
mean,
that
since
age.
you've had it
then,
for a
but
while. You've had it
it's
for
for
It
a
sucks.
while, but it like when yeah.
It
Sorry, I didn't
really
mean to interrupt you, but
No, sushi, you're good because I know at least one other person will completely get this. But it it's social media, especially because I have a lot of family members that are the opposite of what I believe and have really just beaten me down about certain things that I had to delete them. and
Mhm.
like block them or
Mhm.
ban them or things like that because it was getting to me badly. And I stopped talking to like people because of a lot of things that social media though, like it gets very toxic very fast. And seeing it also affect like my students at times too. Like these are like 13 and 14-year-olds that are on social media that sometimes get some nasty comments about things. And I'm like, you're literally attacking a child. I don't understand that. And so like seeing it from both sides, I always want to be like, I want to protect my students, but like I feel so bad because I was like, I don't know how to set them up to succeed when social media, especially my female students, just drags them at times, especially in the States.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm. Kinda to that point, I think a struggle that I've had, like, kind of at the cross section between everything happening in the world, but also particularly, where I live, has been sort of the, um sorry, train of thought. I feel a lot of guilt sometimes about streaming and about, like, what I like, spending my time doing this because a lot of times it can especially being so like exposed to all of those things and being so aware of what's going on, um, a lot of times I can feel almost like I feel guilty for spending my time doing this and for especially like, well, everything else going on and I'm spending time playing video games on the internet or like, just being goofy and silly on the internet. And so that's something that I think that I've had to like
uh, uh,
really try to manage of understanding that like this can still be important and this can still be like valid, and especially like what we're talking about with community support and things like that, that does make an impact, but that's yeah, like that's just something that I've had a hard time with a lot is
oh my
in the
God.
face of everything that we see, especially with social media and especially just how overwhelmed we can get with like all that information sometimes is like remembering that it's still okay to do things that we enjoy.
I have a
Also,
feeling we
we're
just got
getting
rated by one of the
Yeah,
we
we
have
just
We
yes,
got
got
rated by
everybody, they
another
rated each
panel.
yeah, everybody.
Welcome,
Oh, good to
gamers.
see you.
You're so
Hello, welcome
I
in.
love this so much.
Falling.
Hi,
Thank you
Raiders.
guys for
Hi,
coming in.
Raiders.
Hi,
Welcome
thank
in.
Hello.
you.
Hello, all of you amazing Yeldies and people.
Guildies and people.
I
Oh,
didn't know how else to
Holly,
say it.
our
Yeah, I
I got
know,
like
I know.
I got so
No,
scared
that's
after I said that.
great.
the disability panel. Hello.
Woo!
Welcome in, guys.
Hope that went so
You
good.
too.
We're just yapping, but we were on the topic of social media impact on mental health, especially for like women in the Twitch space and things.
Yeah, I think we all said that it definitely affects us. Like, how could we would be
Mhm.
lying, right? If we said it didn't affect us. And
Mhm.
yeah, for me, what really struck me was what Smooshy was saying is that of course it affects you, and I realize it when when I'm looking at numbers or I'm seeing something that is, and I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not doing that, so I should do better. And I try to always counter myself in a way by remembering something about what I do that makes me happy. Like if I really I can get really creative about my editing and just remember that the process of the editing, which brings a smile to my face because I made something really cool, or I used a new tool or technique for with like a zoom, or the way kind of like a video flows, and then if it doesn't get like the viewers that you think it should be getting, or that it's maybe less viewers than another video that you did, just to just to try like to go back to myself and remember how much fun I had making that, and that is value in itself. And
Mhm.
that's one thing that I do. And the second thing is, um, sometimes if something has 300 views, and you see someone else with 22K, I'm still realizing that 300 people saw that. That's
Mhm.
300 people is still a
Mhm.
lot of people that saw your content. Like sometimes you're like, what, 300? Someone else at 22K. Like 300 is
Right, like
nothing. But
But then
it's that thing from
remember,
the beginning of like that
Mhm.
growth mindset of it all. The
yes,
number has to be bigger. I'm not valid unless that number is bigger.
yes,
but then
Which doesn't have to be true.
it can then also go from the person with the 22,000 views could see someone with the 2,200,000 views.
yeah,
It's a
Mhm.
you know
yeah,
it's going up. Each one will be
When is
looking at the
enough?
next
Yeah.
person. That person's got
Yeah.
10 times the amount that I have, and then that one is doing the same for the other person. It's
Yeah.
all
I
just going to be
exactly.
I
the
think we
perspective.
get that. It doesn't matter how many viewers you have. You always view the next level up, and it's like, why can't I do that? And then you
Yeah.
do that, and it's like, well, why can't I do this? And then and it just keeps going. So I think it's hard. It is hard to get out of that mindset. Like I will see other VTubers, and I'll be like, well, I'm not a VTuber like them. Am I doing VTubing wrong? But
Yeah,
I
I
just,
have the same thing.
because you see there is a box, and you think that you should fit in the box. But it's good to not be in the box, and it's hard to
good point.
think like that.
No, I have that same issue. I see other VTubers and I'm like, oh, they do this type of rigging and that type and this and that. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh crap. Am I supposed to do all of that too?
Right.
And then I get in my head like, am I not doing this good? Am I not doing that good? And oh my gosh, I spiral.
I do the same. Like I because obviously we both use 3D avatars. And I'm like, well, should I be using a 2D avatar? Because everybody else is using a 2D avatar. But I've
That's
learned
what I
that
do.
I love my 3D. I love my avatar. She is completely mine. And no one else
Mhm.
has
Aw.
her. And I can make her do things that you can't do with 2D avatars. So for me, that's kind of brought me out of that a little bit.
Exactly. That's value. Like, who cares what anyone else is doing? That's really cool.
Hmm.
I think a really big thing that I've like tried to get better about, especially over the last year or so, which like work in progress is try and fail, that it is okay and it is essential to do things offline, um, and to do things that are just for me. Because I think it's so easy for me to, especially like as a variety streamer who does a lot of like day-to-day life stuff. Like I'll do baking, I'll do art, I'll do project, like all those kinds of things. Any project I do, I'm like, can I stream this? Can I make it content? Can I make it,
Oh,
you know,
Mhm.
can I
Mhm.
post it in a way that people can see what I'm doing, like how, like what angle? And it makes it so that like it can really, really quickly spiral into losing enjoyment for those things. And putting so much pressure on them that it's no longer just like a thing I want to do. Now suddenly it's about how are the metrics doing with it? Are people liking it? Am I, do whatever? And so I'm trying to really get better about both with like gaming and with projects and things of for my own mental health, just like having some level of separation of this thing exists outside of stream. I am not like sure I might like post progress pictures in my Discord, but I am not doing this for the sake of making content. I am just doing this for me.
hmm.
Um and, like, that is so like, to Starshy's point of, like, touching grass, is also, like, just get offline for a little while. Like, broaden your day-to-day so that this isn't the exclusive thing that defines you, because it is so easy to fall into those rabbit holes of, like, "I'm not doing well enough. I'm not, doing enough."
To piggyback off of that, I wanted to, ask you guys, what is something that you do to unplug? Something that I like to do.
Ooh, good question.
I like to read. I like to read whether that's, Kindle or physical books. Um, I something that I do as well is I will put my phone on D&D mode just kind of middle of the day so that I'm not tempted to check numbers, not tempted
Mhm.
to doom scroll on social media and, go through that whole spiral of comparing to another creator. And yeah, sometimes I'll go get myself like a little sweet treat, just like being able to kind of like step away from the online world for a bit.
I go to the horses. So when I was very, very young, long time ago, my dad took me horseback riding, and it's something that I did for maybe a few months, and then I decided I was too scared and never looked back. And then 3 years ago, maybe 3.5, I think my current mother-in-law said, "Oh, I'm taking horseback riding lessons," and I was like, "Oh, can I have a day off? Can I come watch or can I come see?" And as I was watching, she had like a private lesson, like wasn't one-on-one, so I got to talk to the teacher as well about the horse and the care. And I was like, wow, this is something that I would be really interested in learning and doing. And it was around the same time that in one of the local stables here, there was a request for someone to come help out at the stables, at the horses stables. The problem was I have no experience looking after horses, but I can do chores like feeding and making sure they have water and looking like mucking out and everything. So I kind of like applied to the ad, went to meet the owner, and she said it's fine that I don't have any experience with horses. I can just help out. And that was 3 years ago. I do it 3 days a week in the mornings, between an hour and 2 hour work. And it's kind of like it's an area where the horses they walk free together on the how do you say, on the property. So you kind of like walk in between as I do my chores, and it's really become that space for me where I feel like I can like really like rest and think about things. And I realized that when I've had something rough happen to me, I kind of like I feel the emotion and I allow the emotion to happen when I'm with the horses. And that's for me become really like an important part of how I keep my sanity, as I like to say it, through like this whole content creation and streaming journey. um
Mhm.
and it's been so wonderful to discover that about myself and to have an opportunity to build that into my life, to have that spot like where you say where you unplug and you find something to do that's not online and with other people and where there's judgment or you have to overthink things. It's been really wonderful. Yeah, I wonder about everybody else.
I'm a little bit of a movie buff. So when I need to get away from stuff, I'll just binge watch a whole bunch of movies, and that's my little happy place.
I love that.
Great.
Nothing as
I
interesting as
am
horses. Like that sounds so cool.
I am egregiously bad at unplugging. Uh Even when I am off of like social media and offline, I have a very hard time with not maximizing my productivity of every like with every day, which I'm sure is a shared experience for a lot of people. The big things for me is this is like I've been trying to like change those habits a lot recently. So a big one is that I actually, thanks to one of my lovely community members who got it for me as a own gift, I have like a real life alarm clock now, which I know is crazy technology. But I have just a digital alarm clock that I use to replace my phone, so I don't like my phone is plugged in the living room when I go to bed, um, to fully take away the temptation of doom scrolling at night, and then also wake up first thing is check my phone. Granted, I still gotta get out of bed, and generally the first thing I do is check my phone, but I at least have gotten up first, so it's a step. We're moving in the right direction.
100%.
It's progress.
But but also have been reading a lot more lately, especially like reading like analog books rather than ebooks and things like that.
Mhm.
Go to your local libraries, support libraries. Um so just anything to like get my eyes away from the screen. And then my big one is, like I said, I'm a big traveler. I love to backpack. I call it my when I need to go touch dirt for a while. Um, in that, because I do like living my life online, it is so easy to get like very into the weeds about all of like the little things and all of the what feels important. And so it's like a really good mental reset for me when I have like the opportunity and the means of, I'll go backpacking for like an extended period and do like volunteer work or uh just anything that gets me somewhere that I might go a couple of days without looking at my phone, and, like, I have a backpack with 4 changes of clothes and that's it, and, like, just go back to, like, a very basic kind of, "This is the basic of what I need to survive," and it really helps kind of reshift, like, perspective on the not, like, stressing so much about the tiny details with things like streaming and content and stuff like that, because I definitely, like, I will slide into that, and I know that when I am agonizing over the tiny things on stream of, like, "Is this gonna make or break it?" I'm like, "Okay, it's time for me to go stick my hands in dirt somewhere and just, like, get away from this." But yeah, day to day, very, very bad. But that's me.
Nice, I love that. Travel is such a good
Mhm.
way to learn and explore and let things go. Sometimes you don't have internet where when you go somewhere and it's like, yeah, what I gotta do something else.
Huge game changer, even if it's just, like, out in your own town. Go a day when you're out and about with your phone on airplane mode. It's a wild experience. Like, download a if you need a map, download a map of where you're going. You can leave your phone on if you wanna take pictures and things like that, but leave it on airplane mode all day. It's, really going back to the pioneer times with that.
Really good. That's like a really good idea, though.
I, like, highly recommend, especially, like, if you're somebody who travels at all or, like, if you're in a new place. It's made a huge difference for me of, like, being more present, because, like, yeah, like, I'll still go and, like, post pictures later and stuff like that, but I'll do it later and not
Yeah.
at that exact period of
Mhm.
time, because then I'm not worried about, like, who looked at my story, how many, like, does it look whatever. I'm just like, I'll worry about all that later. Right now is for me to exist here.
You're being in the moment.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
Students
A
do that.
hard thing to
I
do.
Yes.
I think I would be atrocious at traveling because one, I can't read a map. So there's that. And when I first moved to the area where I live now, my son was really little and I took him out for a walk and I got lost. And so it was just, and I was pregnant at the time, so I was pushing a pram and I was pregnant. It was just me walking around crying because I was lost in a street. Um, so
Oh.
no, it's funny. Like now I can look back at it, I can laugh because I was like 10 minutes away from my house. It wasn't in the middle of nowhere. I was there. So um that would be me traveling,
So fair.
just in the middle of a
I've been there.
field crying.
I'm pretty sure that's why my family gets nervous when I travel because they're like, "You couldn't get lost in your own house, we feel like. God forbid you go to a city you don't know."
Mm.
I
Yeah.
have a terrible sense of direction. I have, like, it is so easy for me to get lost, and I have learned to embrace getting lost when I travel. I think that's one of the things I really love, like, when I do it, is just see where I end up, go wander around, maybe end up somewhere cool, maybe end up, in somewhere I never intended to be, but yeah, it's a good time. Not this is so off topic, but, like,
I think that's really brave. I think it takes a lot to do that because everyone worries about doing new things and exploring new places. So just being able to do it and be like, well, I might end up somewhere cool. I think that's ridiculously brave. You should be proud.
I guess here I'm gonna do a really good tie-in segue, right? We're gonna bring it right back to mental health. It's
Yes.
that like traveling for me, and I think the moral of it is find something that scares you. Especially like being chronically online, it's very easy to do like to be very safe in what we're doing. Doing things that scare you, or like at least for me, like has given me a lot more confidence in myself of like knowing that I can handle stressful situations. And has been a boon to my own mental health and my own confidence of like I may not like myself all the time, but I know for damn sure that I can handle myself and I can take care of myself and I can always figure it out. Like I can solve it.
That's
I've
huge.
like, you know, I've solved so many situations and kept myself safe in so many situations that it makes it easier to deal with like the the setbacks from being online and the setbacks from like people being shitty and like trolling comments and stuff like that. Cause like, yeah, it hurts in the moment. But also like I know the things that I've dealt with and that I have um like done enough times so that I'm capable of that it makes those things easier for me to cope with. So was my tie back in for
Yeah.
saying the hand.
I kind of agree with that, like stepping out of your comfort zone. My issue with that is though, I still get so much anxiety with it. And then I get
Oh
that
yeah.
always ties
Mhm.
back into like my mental health with my depression and everything else is because like I get so much anxiety and then I sit there and go, "Oh my God, am I not doing this right? Am I not doing that right?" I've also been trying really hard not to laugh out loud right now because the pug is literally kicking me and snoring in my ear. So I've been like trying really hard not to laugh as anybody's talking so that doesn't seem like I'm laughing at you guys. But I got kicked 3 times and he is snoring and I had to check and make sure that you guys couldn't hear him snoring because I'm like pugs snore so loud. Oh my God.
I feel like that's something that's helped with my own mental health as well. Just like a short like backstory, I was in like a previous marriage, right? And it was a very bad situation and I didn't know how to use my voice.
Mhm.
Um and along the way just kind of like when I was single again, I kind of made the commitment to myself to do something that took me completely out of my comfort zone. And so, like, I had opportunities where I was able to go on, like, this giant zip line over the ocean, and I did that. And I started, like, eating food that I wouldn't normally eat, like calamari, and, like, just trying new things and figuring out if I did indeed, not like it or if it was just something new. Um, and I feel like that's helped me today in starting to, stream as well. I feel
Mhm.
like, with my mental health, how it was like a long time ago, I don't think I could have done this and been able to talk to people online like this. Um, but I do try to make it a point to like share my experiences when I can because, I was once there. I'm sure someone out there was in my shoes, right? And would like to hear something like that.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's why it's important not only to do things like this, where we just form groups and talk about it, but also like talk about, how can you make topics, open for discussion when you as a, on the Discord and the streamer as a content creator. That's really valuable to
Mhm.
be able to if you're able to help someone that's going through something that's really rough and they don't know
Mhm.
where to go. That's
Mhm.
why it's really, I've said earlier, like when do you make a decision to talk about something versus to keep it to yourself and to just like try and turn it off in your head, turn on your stream and game and then forget about everything, which sometimes it's also a good way to like not constantly think about things,
Mhm.
but like
Mhm.
to develop an ability to make things open for discussion. That's really wonderful.
I also want to
I
add
think that's such a
it's
good oh please, no,
sorry.
no, no.
I also want to add it's not about someone that was in the same situation, but someone that is in the same situation as what you were.
Yeah.
Because seeing
Yes.
someone that has come out of it could
Mhm.
be the motivation and inspiration that they need to take the steps that they need to take to get themselves into a better position themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. Like I was in a very similar situation to Starship, and I'm still learning to sort of come through that and to do new things and to kind of discover myself again. And it's a long process. It's not an overnight thing. And
Yeah.
there are bumps in the road, and you will fall, and you'll pick yourself back up, and you'll think that the world is ending one day, and it's not, and you think that you can't carry on, but you can get through it. It's just it is a process, and you almost have to find yourself again and figure out who you are, and that is so hard to do.
I think the most important thing I think to remember when it comes to like mental health journeys or recovery journeys is healing is not linear. And that is something I remind myself of every day, is that
100%.
your trajectory of healing is no, it's not going to be a straight line up, right? Like if you think of it on a graph, it's going to be up and then you're going to drop. And then it's going to go up for a while again. And you might have a little dip here. And then you might tank for a while. And then it's going to go back up. But like as long as you zoom out, and I think like a big thing to remember is look at where you were 2 years ago. Look at where you were 5 years ago. Look at where you were 6 months ago. Are you closer to the version of you that you want to be? And like when you're in it, it can be so hard to feel like it's going to get better. But like even on my worst days right now, I look back to like similar to Evan Sarshi, like the situation I was in, the house I was in, the relationship I was in 2 years ago would be overjoyed to know where I am right now. And like that's the important part. Like that's that thing that keeps
Yeah.
me going. And I think like the thing to remind your people, remind your community, remind the people around you is like it's a bad day. It's not a bad life. And like just if you keep moving, it is going to it may not all work out. It may not be exactly what you want. It may not be perfect, but it'll be better than where you were before.
Mhm.
And I wanted to say as well, like Starshi, like thank you for saying like what you were saying about that you don't feel like you could have done this like streaming and content and stuff. I feel like that's a really important reminder for me, especially, and I feel like probably for some other people. I deal with a lot of internalized shame, just for like my upbringing and also, the stereotypes that women get a lot. Like I think that there's a lot of stigma and stereotype around streaming and content creation that it can be very self-centered. It can be very like vapid or material, and like, oh, you only care about posting on social media. And I know I internalize a lot of that, but also it's a really brave thing to do, to put yourself in like the public view, to share your life with people. Like that is an inherently brave thing to do, especially as women. And I think it's worth recognizing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is a really brave thing to do because you are putting yourself out there for other people to see and judge.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and not everything is going to be positive all the time. Like we
Mm-hmm.
can say that we have all of these amazing communities behind us, and we do, but there's always going to be a negative Nancy that comes in who
Yeah.
tries to spoil the mood and bring you down. And so to do that in itself, and to know that that could happen is brave. And I think that everyone out there that does this, not just women, we should all feel really proud.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Proud of everybody. Proud of everybody here. Which like I feel like is a good segue. We're kind of coming a little bit towards the end of our time. I know we were asked to leave room for questions. Obviously, we kind of have done that throughout the stream, but to our chats if you guys have anything specific you would like to follow up on. I would say either in general or like on anybody's specific experiences that they've talked about today. I know that we all kind of agreed that we were open to sharing our experiences and
Mhm.
things like that. So if there's something
Mhm.
specific that you want to know more about or anything like that, like this would be the time to ask if you want to do that. And then similarly, like, if anybody has any more thoughts to add to the discussion.
Time's flying.
I
I know,
know.
right?
Like, wow.
No, we were so worried about filling up the whole 3 hours.
We were.
Get 6 yappers in a room and it'll you'll fill 3 hours
It'll
real
just
quick.
Work the
run.
magic. Work the magic.
For
I was told
sure.
I'm allowed to ramble, and I was like, "Oh, yay!"
Let's do it.
I love
You're
a
here.
rambler. Just reminding you all brave and wonderful and talented people who are loved and appreciated.
That's so
1,000%.
sweet.
Nah, chat's been so
I
nice
imagine
today.
Amber the Rambler. Yes.
Hey, Amber. I also you said that you love a rambler, and I was like, yeah, my students love it too. They can get me off topic real fast.
Yeah. I've always said to me there is like no greater joy to me than watching people talk about something that they're passionate about. Like especially if you were the kind of kid or the kind of woman who was like made to feel like you had to shrink yourself in a space, or wrap it up, shorten the story, too much information, too much detail. Like watching people allow themselves the space to just ramble on uninterrupted about something they care about something that they're passionate about is like one of my favorite things. Like, yes, please tell me every detail of this special interest that you have and how you came to love it, how you came to know it, and like every little detail of it, and talk to me for 45 minutes straight. Absolutely. Please do that.
I love that. I think when someone's passionate about something and you can hear it in their voice, it's so special, and like you want to feel like it makes you interested in what they're interested in because they're so passionate about it and they talk about it with so much love that I don't know, I love that too. Nothing makes me happier than hearing someone ramble about their special interests. When my
Absolutely.
son
Ramble it.
was little, he was obsessed with trains. And it was one train in particular. It's called the Big Boy, and it was an American train. There is a song about it. If you don't know, I've heard it 500 times. And
Honestly,
I got
there's a train called the Big Boy.
I got every fact under the moon about this train. I can't remember any of it now, but and it was over and over again. But he was so happy, and like I love encouraging that in people when they have like a space where they can share something that they're interested in and you get to listen and hear that passion and just yeah.
Most definitely.
That's true.
I am sort of sidebar working on finding one of the other groups to eventually raid out to
Yeah.
whenever we
I
wrap
think
up.
we-
So
I think
I think we're
we,
kind of like
voice
winding down
chats.
a little bit. So
yeah, I think the
Business.
women
thank you for
power should be live now.
Thank
getting
you for hydrate.
to yes, hydrate reminder.
Hydrate it.
Hydrating with Pepsi.
I was hydrating with coffee all day, so I do not judge.
Excellent. We're
At all.
overly
There is no
caffeinated over
judgment.
here.
I see the Women in Power
It's,
panel is live.
I saw that there's the business panel is live right now. I
Also
know
live,
a
yeah,
few
both.
of the I know a couple of the guildies in that one.
I was gonna say the business panel because it also looks like it just became live.
Yeah, 45 minutes ago. Yeah, it's
Okay,
one
good
of
point.
the newer ones. So
because I know a couple people in it too.
yeah. As we kind of wrap up,
Amazing.
we all like want to pick one of the people to raid into. I think kind of like our last our kind of share the guildie raid.
I literally just raised my hand to say something, and then I was like, "I'm a V2. Nobody can see that. What am I doing?" But I was gonna go.
It would have been so impressive, like if your model like actually raised its hand.
Model raised its hand. I would also be slightly scared at how it did that. It would then be me asking if it was like, oh my god, possessed. That's the word. Could not think of the word. Kitty. Sorry.
They're very upset with me right now because their dinner time was like an hour and 15 minutes ago. So they will not leave me alone right now.
The pugs are upset with me, but that's because I moved.
This is my number one emotional support system right here is the cats. They keep me going day to day.
I'm jealous of anyone that can have pets. I'm not allowed any pets in my flat. And even if I was, I wouldn't want a cat. Just because it wouldn't be allowed outside. I'm a top floor flat. It's just cruel that they can't have the space. And then a dog, it's not fair running it up and down the stairs every single day just to allow it to go to the bathroom. But I do wish I had
that's
cats.
super fair. Right.
Do you want to pick
anybody
a
else?
name?
Yeah. I will read into hockey. That's one of the people that I know from it. But also it literally doesn't matter if somebody else wants.
I can read into a Simply Aretha.
I've got Spice loaded up. It was the first
I've
one
got
I found.
Livia. Yeah. Hi,
Perfect.
Sunny.
So I think Mousy is the other one.
There is 6 of us, and there's 6 of them. We can each go
6
to
of
anything.
them. Yeah. So yeah, if you guys would
Hold on.
not mind
Someone help
chat.
me out.
Yeah, here, let me send the link to. Okay, I think Mousy is the last one. Here, I'll put it in the VC chat.
Thank you.
And I've got the raid message.
What? That was
if
the wrong
everybody
thing.
wants
Hold on.
to copy that.
Who else was in it? I
It's
originally would
Brenna.
do Aretha. Okay.
Ignore that name I just sent. That was the one that I was writing into. I sent the wrong thing. I don't think anybody had claimed Mousy yet.
I think
that one.
it's Brenna Rose and Mousy May are the 2 not claimed yet.
Yes.
Thank you for the rainbow
I love
streamers.
you,
You're all amazing. Have
Mousy
cultivated
May.
amazing communities. Go have fantastic rest of your days. This goes for chat too. You're all amazing and are part of what makes these communities phenomenal. Absolutely.
Yay.
But yeah, if our chats, if you guys would not mind sticking around to raid out with us, we're gonna do a little guildy raid train. There's another group that is talking about women in business right now. So even if you have to raid and run, we would super love if you would do us the honor of sticking around and raiding over there with us.
Excellent question, Joe. Thanks for hanging out, Joe.
No.
All right.
Okay. I have mine queued up and ready whenever you guys are ready to hit the raid.
I have mine too.
Thanks everyone
I
for all the
send Emma.
support.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter. Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go. Thank you guys so
Thanks,
much
everyone.
for chatting with us
everybody for being
to
here.
chat and to my fellow panelists. Thank you guys. This was lovely. I would love
This was
to
so much fun.
I would love to connect with you guys further on like
100%.
events and nights and things like that. Women supporting women.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And yeah, we'll drop there is the raid command if everybody wants to grab that one. But yeah, this was lovely. Thank you all for holding space for this. This was
Thanks
great.
everyone for the
Thank
raids,
you,
the
all chat, for
support.
hopping in and joining us.
And big props to all of my all the other panelists here who also said that they had a lot of anxiety going into this today. You're all very brave. You're all very brave for being here, and I'm proud of all of you.
Yes, thank you guys for being here. Thank you everyone in chat. Like, you're all amazing, and I hope you all have a wonderful weekend.
Yes.
And
You
also, Angelic,
too.
happy affiliate anniversary.
Happy affiliate
thank you.
anniversary,
Happy
Angelic.
affiliate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye everyone.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Cute.